if I do.
Covino and Rich. Are you ready?
Honestly, how do I deal with you every day?
Get ready.
You heard all about it on the radio.
Get ready.
Yeah!
Holy mother nugget! And holy mother meatball!
I'm the smartest man alive! You're so ridiculous. What? You're such a fool. Get out of here.
Oh, I'm a disc jockey.
What's a disc jockey?
Here we go. Covino and Rich.
Let's go!
All right!
Hey, welcome to the show. Good morning.
I'm gonna bring the heat today.
Really?
Bringing the heat.
Feel the heat. Why? Because Spot's bringing the heat every day.
What's up, Spot?
Hey, producer Spot, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
There he is.
Hope you had a Lamar Jackson sort of Monday night, not a John Gruden sort of.
Holy shit. Holy shiitake mushrooms.
So anyway, thank you guys for being here.
I almost dropped the shiitake mushrooms on Fox Sports this weekend, and I was scared.
I won't take any chances in life.
Right?
No chances whatsoever.
Just be rocking out. Let's go.
This guy likes to rock out every day. Can I give you the anxiety I have? Every time.
I already have enough. Thanks.
Every
You can keep
time
it.
we were on ESPN Radio and now Fox Radio, where there's a new board op, and I'm not quite sure if they know to crank it up and we say, now it's time to rock out.
They don't.
They don't.
Because a lot of times they'll dip it down and it's like,
I was just about to rock out.
yeah. Hey, kids, Sunday Fun Day, Fox Sports. But first, we rock out. And all right, here we go. Let's get into it. It happens all the time.
It does, but
Reminder Spot next week. Remind them that we do that every day.
Listen to us on Fox Sports Radio.
Okay.
Catch us on social
I'll
media at Covino and Rich. Thank you guys. You guys know us. Just tell your friends about us. Thank you for being here on our Patreon. You're like family. We appreciate you.
You know who I love? Lynn Brower. What's up, Lynn?
Hey, Lynn.
Morning to you. Andrew.
You're like family. Blessing
Darren.
and a curse.
NW. Kirk.
You're like family. I love you, but you drive me crazy.
Kim said it's beautiful in Toronto this morning. Hello, Kimberly.
Hey,
She
Kimberly.
posted something and then retracted it. I don't know what that means.
Oh, you could do
I don't
that?
think John Gruden could do that, but Kim can.
If you could do that, then great.
Maria? Haven't seen Maria in a while.
Maria, I want to be with you. I
Hi,
bet
Maria
you.
Gutierrez.
If you let me get
Good
with
morning.
you, I'll set you straight. Maria.
Maria and Mike.
Maria.
What's up, Maria and Mike?
All right.
¿Qué tal, vatos locos? Let's go.
Shout out to Keanu Reeves, just because.
Why?
Because he's Keanu.
It's a good thought.
Shout outs to Keanu.
Good day, folks. Jason Brown.
Oh, and Sophia Beverly.
Chris Garland. Mike Wheeler. I love you all. My sip of coffee dedicated to you guys. What's up, y'all? John
By the way,
Carpenter.
this coffee's fantastic. I don't know what you were talking about this
Oh,
morning.
yeah. Hold on. I'm going to give my first
It's a
sip
little.
of the day.
Sarah started the coffee this morning. Tony Murillo.
Moriello.
I know.
Say it with me.
You don't.
Say it with me.
You don't.
This guy is a high-powered attorney
I know.
who has been kind enough to give us his services.
I mean, he knows, but he still says, I can't even say what he says. Murillo.
And you still say it wrong.
Moriello.
I know Tony
He
Murillo.
deserves the respect of having his name pronounced correctly.
Tony. I love you.
Rick Mavis.
Joel, good day. Steve.
What's up, Northwest?
Oh, Tony wants to know, Steve, how about them Red Sox?
Congratulations. I'm not a hater like that. They
No,
moved
but
on.
I'm
They're
saying, like,
the better team.
Tampa wins 100 games and
Yeah.
Shazami just like that.
Well, the Red Sox are a good team. I thought the Devil Rays, I call them the Devil Rays. I'm old school.
Okay,
OS
John Gruden.
OS for life.
You say devil?
The Rays were a greater team. I thought for sure they'd win. I watched them play all year. They looked unstoppable. But the Red Sox are hot right now, and they're a good team too. So
So is Hansel.
yeah. So thank you
So
guys.
hot
Congratulations to the Red
Hansel
Sox.
is so
Hope you
hot.
had a Red Sox sort of night, not a Colts sort of night. Not
Reggie?
a Rays sort of night.
Jonesy? Stefan? I'm like, what's that show? Romper Room back in the day. Remember you would get the shout outs?
Of course I do. I'll give one.
Were you waiting for your name back then? Like, I see Steven? I see Christian?
They never called that Christian. It was a very unique name in the 80s.
Did they not have little keychains with your name on it
No.
at the zoo?
Never.
That's Jordan's
Never.
gripe. Jordan.
Well, there was probably never a Jordan with a Y.
Yeah.
We're at Six Flags, and I can't find the Bugs Bunny keychain.
But I've found
And it's a find.
a Jordan with a Y, like somewhere. We were somewhere, and I found
What did you find?
something.
The little New York license plate?
I found something with her name, a keychain.
They always had Chris. They always had Christopher.
Yeah.
Never had Christian.
You know what's
Well-
another tricky one spot? Your wife. Because I dated a Kristen with
an I.
with an IN,
IN,
and
yeah.
all the Kristen little keychains and license plates are Kristen with an EN. I know your struggle. Colts blew it. John ZL. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to everything. We'll get to Gruden. We'll get to
IN that
movies.
crevice.
We'll get to a bunch of stuff.
I really don't want to get to Gruden. These conversations are too sticky, icky.
No, I think you have good, I think we have good takes on them. I think why shy away?
Well, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'll give a shout out to Andrew Maldonado. What's up, bruv? Things get better, bruv. Shout out to Andrew Maldonado, Seabrink, and all the officers out there and people who work in law enforcement that get no respect and that work hard and deserve more props. Ray, our buddy Ray. What's up, Ray? Thank you guys.
Let's see. Can I give us some shout outs?
Yeah, please do.
To our new patrons. Shout out to Clint Buffington.
Oh,
Buffington.
I mean, he should be tier 2. He's
Yeah.
a Buffington.
He's only
I hope,
tier
I
1.
hope he's tier 2. He's a Buffington. The guy's got money. Oh,
The Buffingtons are not thieves.
the
Shout
Buffingtons
out
want only the elite service.
to Julie Cañas. She's got the thing over her end.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cañas.
Cañas.
She must be
Cañas.
fire. She must be a fiery little thing.
Shout out to Ian Moore.
What's up, Ian?
Shout
Sounds
out
like a
to
regular fellow.
Forrest Morton.
Hey.
Sounds
what up?
a little slow. Forrest.
Let's see. Austin Self.
Austin, what up?
What up, buddy? Thanks for being
Great
here.
city. Good name.
Marina Menasian.
Sounds like Maria Menounos bootleg.
No, it's the Asian version.
Oh,
Dustin Reichman.
Dustin, what
Hi,
up?
Dustin. We know Dustin.
Sam Voigt. I wonder if he's related to John.
No, he has ties to the volleyball company.
Oh, okay.
That's nice.
Jeff Holtenius. These are some great names. Honestly, if I ever need a fake name, I'm just going to go to our patrons and pick one.
There you go.
Honestly, when we're like, all right, think of it. When we always say like, all right, we have a friend in need, think of a fake name.
Dustin Reichman.
And we're always like, I don't know, the Carl.
It's always Hank or Fred.
Hank or Fred.
Or Biff.
Spot,
or
give me
Bart.
one. Fake name for our friend in need.
Oh, Bart McConaughey.
Oh, Josh Elal.
Oh, Josh Elwell. Yeah.
Oh, Ryan Jarvis.
Oh, Ryan Jarvis is my new friend in need.
Jonathan Lockyer.
Shout outs all day. All right, let's get into the
right.
Before we get into anything,
The meat, the
we
beef.
did get a new package, so I like to start off with some mail. So here you go.
letters.
We
get letters.
Stops
We
off.
get stacks and stacks of letters.
Letters.
Stops at our mailbox every once in a while. So.
I stop on the way to work. That's what I do. I get
Shout
a
out
little
to John
alert.
Murphy too, because he sent a package that we're not able to get for some reason yet, but it's there.
Yeah. Oh, when you send packages, here's a little tip. Send them to the business. Send them to the name of the show, Covino and Rich. Don't send them to individually because they won't let me get them.
Oh, it's a cute little love note inside this.
Isn't that like a wild thought?
It's ridiculous.
Like if you
You're
send
Covino,
if you send to our
you're
PO
Rich.
box, which by the way, Spock, can you throw out the PO box if people want to send us cookies or
yes,
something?
I can.
The PO
I gotta get rid
box.
of the neon sign though.
The PO box in West Hills, California, a couple miles away.
It's super close.
That PO box will accept packages for Covino and Rich show, but if you label it Steve Covino, they're like, nope, can't process.
Yeah.
It'll even
So-
accept it to my name.
They
I
have
set it
a
up.
few of them held ransom right now, so don't worry. Thank you guys. We'll get them.
How you gonna get your beef sticks that you?
We have a note. It says, Covino, Rich, and Spot. That's us.
Very nice.
Here is some of our favorite coffee. Hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do. From your friends in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
You know what Tulsa is spelled backwards?
Yes, I do.
A slut.
Jesus.
Lara on fire.
Oh.
And Sean.
Lara on fire.
Let's see it.
That
All
Lara's on fire.
Man, I feel like Rich was freebasing coffee beans right
Right?
before this happened.
Let's see.
Butt chug coffee and caffeine?
Isn't that how you drink it?
Oh, look, that's so cute.
Topeka. This is Tulsa time. It's Tulsa time.
Yeah, it is.
Berry citrus toffee.
That sounds like a good one.
That sounds
That might skip the line of coffees.
fantastic.
Add it
We
to
do
the
have
pile.
a line of coffee. We have
Thank
a line of coffee ready to be used.
Not our own personal line, but just the line.
It's
we'll
gonna
use
be
it
a
all.
soccer player.
It's a nice little box. Should we keep it? Look at this little box. Should we keep it?
Hey, you could put a fleshlight in there.
And shout out to the Becoming who sent me their album. I got to check it out. In the Name of God. Look them
Clearly
up.
you do.
No, I do because you've left it here for a month.
Wrapped.
You mean last week? Becoming. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. So thanks for all your support. We appreciate you.
The address.
There it is.
That's the address.
One last
right
time.
here.
You don't have to send anything, but it's very sweet.
Hope you enjoyed the games last
Go away
night.
so I can turn
Someone
on
the
my
other
side.
day said they're begging for stuff. I'm like, no, people hit us up personally all the time. Like, what's an address?
Who the fuck said that? Fuck
I
them.
saw someone. You know what it is? On Fridays, Free Twitch Friday,
Yeah.
people have a way of going incognito and being
Oh,
assholes.
Fuck them jerk offs. Everybody's a jerk off. Go
Just
fuck
saying.
yourself.
Here's
sick of everybody.
The reason we got this box, right? This PO box is because so many people would hit us up. The kindness of people that they show us is astronomical.
And listen,
And you know what I would have to say? Sorry, we don't have a PO box, or here's my home address. I keep a hatchet by the door. So
then the reality is like,
now that we have it, we love spreading it around so people know.
We're appreciative. You think we're really doing this for the coffee beans?
I mean, all it would take.
I mean, it's a nice gesture.
all it would take is one lunatic out of thousands and thousands of people to murder you. So,
Yeah.
so
Once again,
we needed a PO box.
those that do have my home address, I keep a hatchet by the door. And I have cameras everywhere.
I have a question for you, but this is a real question. Do you have a CD player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are
Because
you kidding?
I don't think I have a CD player.
Are you kidding? This guy?
I have
This
like
guy's got a fucking
1,000
8,000
CDs.
I know you, but I'm saying like someone sent you their CD.
Yeah.
Hey kids, hey Jules, this is a CD.
I do appreciate it.
I don't think
Music is and books, great gifts. You
Scott-
don't throw them away.
has a CD player made. Well, yeah, you keep a lot of old school stuff. I was gonna say I don't know if you made one more move, would the CD player make the move?
Yeah.
I don't think I have a CD player. Does an Xbox
I
play
mean, I'm
CDs?
not surprised, bro. You like when it comes to electronics and like even things in your own industry, you don't give a diddly fuck about it.
Let's play
You don't care
CDs.
about microphones, headphones, things that like pertain to you. You don't even give a fuck about, which is like to me, like
I care about living life.
yeah. I mean, that's fine.
I care
Cares
about living life.
flip-flops,
Material things don't
yeah,
tickle my penis.
cheesies. I mean, you know.
And by
all
the
good.
way, Spot, if anyone's ever doubted your hatchet life,
Hatchet life.
back in the day, maybe 6+ months ago,
yeah.
we
this-
saw
it was like early pandemic.
we saw Spot
It's a year and a half
on-
at least.
on a Ring camera run down to his parking garage because someone was tussling around his car, and Spot ran down there, no joke, in his boxer briefs and a t-shirt with a fucking hatchet.
I've done it again since. Now if I'm lazy and I see it, I just set off the alarm to my wife's car. By the way, I have a CD player in my car. If you want to take a ride, we can listen to it together.
Oh, hey, now we're talking.
We'll put the top down.
Now we're talking.
Slide that puppy in.
Spot's ride is a mood.
And by the way, I bring
vibe.
that up not to be like, I don't have a CD player. And Matt brings up a good point. New laptops.
Why don't I do a show with Matt?
Dude, you should.
Yeah. He's
If I
got all
take a
the
day,
good
if I
points.
take a day off,
Yeah.
bring in Matt. He's
Matt.
great. He's great.
Matt, we'll talk smack about my vaccine choices. I'll do a show with him.
Perfect. That would be a great conversation.
I would love to hear that combo.
But he brings up one great point at least.
bother.
He brings up one great point, which is
Yeah, one. Good for you.
that's what I'm saying. I'm giving him props for 1 point.
I'm joking. What's the point? The laptops that don't come with CD players?
My old MacBook Pro
yeah.
had a CD player.
So you need one of these.
Any
bad
new
boys.
computer you get does not have a CD player in it. It does not have a drive.
Yeah.
I
external one.
always found that funny. Like the computers that SiriusXM used to provide never had disk drives on them, but everyone works in audio and was loading in CDs
Oh, let me
and
show you.
audio.
I'll show you.
So everyone would have to get a fucking drive requested. So it's like, why not just get machines with drives in them?
My laptop that I record Pop 2K and hits one on.
That thing's old as fuck.
This is like an old Dell, like a Dell that I tried to
actually
record some.
Adele, the singer,
Yeah,
is younger than that
I tried to actually
and slimmer.
and slimmer.
I tried to record some stuff for, I'm not even joking when I say this, maybe 15 minutes the other day. And I said, I got to go in the other room because Spot was doing business in here. So I had to move where I was recording. Business. Yeah, he was setting up the studio, doing some stuff. Would you believe that laptop without being plugged into the wall died in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
That's fucking
Because
old
I have
ass.
one worse than that. and
I was like, I
it only
unplugged
works
I was
when
like,
it's plugged in.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I unplugged this like 10 minutes ago. It's dead? That's it. So it doesn't even have a battery, essentially. It needs permanent fucking power source.
I have a Gateway fucking laptop. That's
Gateway.
how
They
weak
gave
mine
you a
is.
Gateway?
No, I'm joking,
Oh.
but like mine's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I thought you had
Rich's
a-
looks dope compared to the one I have.
I thought you had a Packard Bell.
I feel like they said, who are we shipping this one out to? Covino? And they threw it down the fucking
Well,
steps
they looked what you
first.
were, and you were on the very bottom of the list. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, give him that one.
And they gave me the worst fucking one.
Here's the funny thing. Rich actually used to have a nice newer laptop. And I think that he had to I think you didn't use it or something and you had to send it in, right?
Yeah, dude, I don't
I
care.
swear
Does it
you
do
had
the
a
job?
nice
Yes.
slim
I'm just
one.
mad that the battery sucks. I don't want it to die if I unplug it. All right. So retro, so hip. That's what's up. All right. Just reading the feedback. I have a CD cassette player I bought at Walmart. You know, Rolando, I say this truthfully, I'm not being sarcastic. That's a good idea. If you could find a cassette deck CD player for like 20, 30, 40 bucks at Walmart, take it, buy it, put it in the garage, because when you're an old guy, the same way, because I'll give you the analogy. The same way you went to your grandpappy's garage or attic and they had, what do you call those? The 8mm, like all the old shit, but they didn't know where to play it because it's like, well, I just have the tapes. There's going to come a time in 50 years from now where you're going to be like, I have a cassette tape. I wonder what's on this. Then you can be like,
but you know what film projectors are good for? Making shadow puppets.
it's true. It's
So
true.
not only could you put your 8mm film on that, you could make shadow puppets for hours.
But I'm just saying there's
Can't do that with
There's gonna come a
VHS
point
options.
in your future where you might not be able to find.
That was for the people
One
that
of
have
those things.
projector.
No, I mean there's
Projectors
always
at
going to
home.
be things like there's transfer devices on Amazon for 8mm tapes,
I get it. I'm just saying it's not
which I have to purchase.
it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to have these things on standby,
Like,
like
you
in the
know,
garage or something.
I mean, I have a VHS player in my storage.
Let me
I don't
tell
use
you.
it.
It's a great idea. Like I don't have a VCR anywhere.
Let me tell you, people in the 60s fucking loved converting their photos to slides. Because I have found buckets of slides.
I think my dad found slides when he cleaned out my grandmother's place.
A ton of them.
Slides.
And I have to have them converted now.
Here's the thing, though. Like, what about when
buy
you
one of
find
those little-
negatives? Like, if you find negatives, you're like, oh, were these printed? Do you assume that they were
I
printed?
keep the
And
negatives too.
You're like, yeah, like, oh, I think I've seen that picture before.
I have negatives from like
a couple
the
old people by the
30s.
beach in old people bathing suits. What is this?
Like, oh, should I get them developed? They're like, oh. Then you get them back and like, oh, I've seen these.
Wait, it's a couple
before.
old people standing on a stoop,
But you don't want to throw
not
them away.
smiling. What is
Right.
this?
Yeah. Honestly, and if you have, let's say you have a ton of them, like I have a ton of slides. There are services that do it, but that shit adds up quick. So you're better off investing in a slide converter.
Covino has slides, Vato slides.
Vato slides.
That's what I'm talking about.
Órale,
Yeah.
funky
Just
monkey
slides, little
slide.
mini slides.
Yeah. Slide life. Well,
Mercer said his dad used to have a microfiche machine.
really? A machine?
That's wild. Microfiche.
I've only seen those at the library.
There's always going to be a market for old stuff and throwback stuff. So, yeah, not a bad idea. You know what you should do? If you have room and you're not a pack rat, and let's say you actually have extra storage area, it's like one of those things that I bet you Gary V will tell you.
God.
By the way, that my computer is not a compact Presario. What would be a cool item to have? I'm not even joking. In 50 years from now, God willing, you live until you're 90 something. What would be a cool item to have 50 years from now that's not even opened? Like, oh my God, it's an unopened
Viewmaster.
yeah.
CD player. Because how
No,
cool? Like,
from
how cool
today.
would it be if you went? How cool would it be if you went into your, God forbid, your grandparents die, right? You go in their attic. Imagine in their attic they had an unopened, I don't know, toaster from 1950. You would just think, how cool, an unopened something, anything from 1950
you
would be
know-
cool, right? Like, imagine it was like, wow, this is an unopened, anything that was not opened from 50, 60 years ago would feel fucking awesome, no?
I swear in my grandmother's attic, which is my house, there is a television from like one of the very first televisions. Just like covered up, wrapped up, probably still works.
Didn't
black
you have a
and white.
Model T in the garage?
Honestly, I swear that, like I saw it. I'm like, what is this? Pristine condition.
Wow, that's pretty
Her
cool.
very first television.
That's wild, Spot. I think
But
that's cool.
hold on,
I really
Rich-
think
Rich
that's super
does
cool.
ask a decent question.
Like,
though.
what would blow your grandkids' minds? And like,
What could you buy now that would be like, oh shit,
Because it would have-
unopened?
it would
It's
have-
hard
it would have
Maybe
value.
a gaming console.
no, but you get what I'm saying? You're right. Because if I told you right now, an original Nintendo unboxed It's worth a lot of money.
You
and
can't.
It's not that long ago.
We really can't see what is going to have value in the future. For example, you know what has a lot of value right now? Like concert T-shirts, the actual shirts that you would buy at the concerts at the time. But when you were done with this
shirt?
Nirvana T-shirt or whatever, you were like, "Yeah, I'm done with this. I had it. It had its run," and you donated it or threw it away. You weren't able to see that it was going to have value because you thought, oh, it's just clothes. Who cares? Who's gonna want that?
We've gone through enough generations
So
now
what would have value?
to realize, like, honestly, someone said something silly, but it's true. Like Kirk said something like from your childhood. Imagine having a Light Bright or Lincoln Logs or fucking Hungry Hippo. Imagine if it was like unboxed, unopened, brand new mint condition.
My sister has
That would be pretty cool. If
I'd
you
say
had
gaming console.
If you had an original, imagine you had a Nokia phone from even the year 2000, like still in the wrapper.
new in box.
That would be pretty cool probably in years from now. And you know what's going to happen? You see it now. These things are worth something. So next time you're at Walmart, Target, anywhere, look around and be like, yo, is there something cheap here that if I bought, didn't open, but just put in the garage, my grandkids would be like, holy shit, it's an unopened flash drive.
It's
I don't know.
hard
Like,
to predict that.
holy shit, it's a package of floppy disks. Like, I don't
Like I feel like there's no more passing fads like there used to be. There's no more Tickle Me Elmos, and there's no more.
Greg said his friend made thousands of dollars on unopened gaming consoles from back in the day. And that's in our lifetime. It sounds so stupid. We can move on from it. But honestly, we're not realizing, you invest in the market, you invest in real estate, you invest in stuff because those are bigger money investments. But I'm telling you right now, if you bought a $40, $50 item
An Instant Pot.
in 100 years from now, 50 years from now, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, anything unopened would be like, holy shit, it's from the year 2000 something and it's unopened? There would be values for some dumb reason.
Went up in the attic behind the velvet rope when I was in New Jersey trying to find some treasures. Couldn't find shit. It was like when Geraldo
Found the
was
vault.
at Al Capone's vault. Al Capone's, what was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
Capone's
dad
vault.
told me that you looked a little disappointed. He goes, yeah, him and Tommy thought there'd be more up there.
Couldn't find my He-Man. I know they're up there. I just couldn't find them. Couldn't find what I was looking for, but I did find an unopened Skeletor in the packaging, and the price said $5.99.
Unopened?
Mike Durban said that could be worth up to 600 beans.
You know what
I was like, wow.
Good beans because you're Mexican, right?
Beans because I'm Mexican.
I found the
So
instructions.
toys is always an option.
I know that the actual item is long gone. I found the instructions for Castle Grayskull.
That's where you lived.
Castle
All right,
Grayskull.
Gruden.
Okay. All right.
That's where Rich lives. Castle Grayskull.
I'm gonna write that down.
And someone said that even the instructions are worth money. I looked it up. The instructions are worth I feel like $50 to $100.
You gotta have room to keep this shit.
A piece of
You have to have
paper.
the foresight to think it's gonna have value.
Well, that's my point.
lot of
That's why I'm saying it right now. Like Austin brings up a dumb one, but he
Maybe a
goes,
toy, like
what
I
about what about a couple unopened masks? They're like a couple bucks. It might be a novelty item, like an unopened mask from the coronavirus pandemic 50 years ago.
Maybe.
Hey, it's a Dallas Cowboys mask. What's that for, Grandpa? Well, 50 years ago, there was a couple years we had to wear masks and shit. Like, for all you know.
I'm just waiting to find the box of money that is hidden somewhere.
Oh, my mom.
The Italians love doing
I wonder
that
if
shit.
they looked around enough. When my grandparents died.
They do. Italians don't trust banks.
Well, my grandfather was Irish. So I think Irish people did it too. Maybe
There's a
that's
box
why.
of money somewhere.
Because they were, you know why? Because when they were little kids, their parents grew up during the Depression, when the banks crashed and everything went bad. So they would hide money. Remember those metal Band-Aid boxes?
Of course.
They would, like, stuff like that we'd look at in the cabinet. My mom would open it when we were cleaning up my grandparents' house. They'd be like $5,000 in a Band-Aid box.
You're like, Sucrets, wait a minute.
Oh, gold! Gold bullion! A MAGA hat, unworn.
Unworn MAGA hat. I don't know.
I have one in the closet.
You don't know. You think Pokemons are trash until you realize 20 years
Right?
later, 30 years later, they're worth hundreds and thousands of dollars. So,
there's
Material things won't be worth anything. It'll be NFTs, and we're wasting our conversation right now.
I have so much
People will be
Again?
wanting digital things.
and that's what you brought up Gary Vee. That's what he's talking about all the time. He sees that value in the future. maybe you invest in my virtual fart, my NFT. Somebody said it.
I get the real life ones every day.
You're absolutely right. So there you have it. I'm not even sure how we got here, but I did this little treasure hunt recently
$1,000.
behind the velvet rope, tier 2. Thanks for checking it out. My brother was trying to find his Pokemon cards, couldn't find them. I was trying to find, my constant quest is always trying to find my Star Wars figures. Can't find them. They're gone. Someone jacked them. My dad threw them away. I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, what's this garbage?
And
Get rid of it. Throw it out.
it's hard
Throw
to
it
see
out.
into the future, you know,
Taking
what
up
will have
space.
value. But Rich said something interesting. You know what really got me?
For once.
Like, if you opened up a toaster from 1950, that shit would be fucking dope.
Do you want
Right?
to see one?
But
Look
a
up,
mint
honestly,
one?
look up a
like
19
a mint 19. Wow.
Because how
No, I'm
retro
saying,
and dope
I
would that
could-
be?
I
Look,
could-
Google
like,
toaster
oh,
from the
shit.
1950s.
I
You'd be
can
like,
give
holy
you a
shit, this
real
is
one.
brand new.
I don't think we have anything that simple that we could see that could be that moment 50 years from now.
You could try to replicate it. Companies will be like, this is a retro looking toaster. But look, well, I want to know what a toaster looked like in 1950. Imagine a box.
You picture it.
You open it, and it's a brand new like stainless steel toaster from
It's like a
1952.
Fake toaster. Oh, yeah. Well, remember that like electric? It was. Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, show me. Show everybody.
I'll show you what the
Tier 2.
the
Take a look. See.
electric toaster looked like. You're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I know what that looked like. Let's see video.
I'd prefer a refrigerator so I could hide in it like Indiana Jones in case of a nuclear bomb or something.
Remember, you would like put the.
I don't. I
It was
don't.
like
I've
a-
never
it
seen
was-
something like that in my life. But
It
you
was
know
a
what?
coil, and then it didn't slide in. There was no slot.
Rich would think it was an electric heater.
Looks fucking dangerous.
It's a heater from the 1920s.
It's a midget heater.
See this little clip
No,
down
it's a
here?
toaster.
You lift it
I'm sorry, little people.
and you put the bread in, and it heats it on the coil. So it's like a one-sided toaster essentially.
Pretty cool.
Pretty riveting. Not even sure how we got here, but
But hey, it's a
But
good
we're
thought.
here.
It's a good thought. How did we get there?
I don't know. Reverse engineer it.
Here's this one too. This is very similar.
How'd we get here, Spot?
We were talking about. I don't know. To be honest,
This is Rich went on his rambles. Richie Rambles, they called him back in the gangster days. Richie
value.
Rambles.
That CD that you picked up.
Oh yeah.
I went from CD players.
You went from do you
to
have a
old
CD player?
things
Do you
to
have old
the-
things? There you go. Look at that. Perfect.
Richie Rambles brought us here.
Perfect. Richie Rambles.
Richie Rambles.
Richie Rambles.
They called him Richie Rambles because he just rambled about everything. Got to get the papers. Get the papers.
All right.
What is this? By the way, what is the coffee brand that we're drinking? Because I feel like this coffee is human fuel. It's like it's like human jet fuel.
I feel like Rich butt chugged it before we started.
Seriously,
the show.
it's
I
I think the past few days this coffee has really like made us amped up.
I'm just bringing it on a new level.
It's a
Spot.
good point. Maybe you're right, Spot. I was in a different zone. I was feeling everything on a next level yesterday. I had stories crafted. I came with great points. I went home. My music sounded better than ever. I was in a music zone. Know what I listened to yesterday?
That
Collision.
CD.
Not that CD.
Not this CD. Not Becoming, but thank you guys. I didn't listen to any CD. I was playing stuff for Melody. We were having like a music session. She really loved that lyric thing, the top lyrics.
Oh yeah.
Such a commonality. Almost every band in every genre, whether it be R&B, hip hop, rap, rock, the most common,
Love
most
and
repeated
love and
words.
fuck.
Yeah, fuck is like Limp Bizkit's number one word. It's love, never, now, fuck, baby. Yeah is always up there
Baby,
too.
yeah, love
Like,
and
how
fuck.
do you write a hit song?
Baby, yeah, love, fuck.
Fuck love, baby. Yeah, fuck love, baby. Now, never.
That's your number hit. That's your number one hit. Steve Covino with his new number one hit.
And I was
never
trying
fuck
to-
love, baby.
I was trying to.
Now,
I was pulling
now
up.
never. Isn't that how you named your show?
I'd pull up.
Limp Bizkit lyrics.
Now never fuck, baby.
Now, never fuck. I would pull up Billie Eilish's lyrics, put it in a word cloud, and see if Melody could guess what artist I was.
That's
She was
cool.
guessing it, so we were having a lot of fun with that. And then I played her Collision Course, Linkin Park and Jay-Z. And she's like, this is like the coolest shit I ever heard. She was so into it. Like she had never heard a mashup mix.
Did you tell
And
her?
I was like, you have
did you
no
tell her
idea.
that? Did you tell her that your buddy Al B that she knows
course.
was behind it?
Yeah, of course, 100%. Our good pal, Alberto, Al B, was the first to ever mash up Linkin Park and Jay-Z, and it got radio airplay, legit radio airplay, which inspired that album. So I was telling her how it was such a big thing that came and went so fast, but I think it might be coming back a little bit, but that I was all about it. I love nothing better than a great mashup mix. And she was just like blown away to hear like a rock band mashed with a rap act, and, you know, just had a nice day feeling it. I don't know if it's because of the coffee or what. coffee.
The coffee.
But if it is, time to
Oh.
bring the heat on this show. Thank you guys for being here. Yesterday, Red Sox win. The Red Sox win. Pop quiz question for you, Rich. What's a more iconic stadium? Fenway or the old Yankee Stadium? Because I'm about to get into an argument with Sean the lawyer. Just throwing it out there. Like, think about it.
Huh.
'Cause I have so many arguments that could bury him.
Um.
And Sean the lawyer.
Well, before I give
is a
my
good
answer,
friend. Yeah.
I got to say also congrats to the Braves.
Yeah.
And congrats to, I watched the last 2 innings thinking the Dodgers might get a little magic going. The wind last night, this is a whole separate topic, but the wind in Los Angeles was so strong last night.
Wait, the Braves aren't moving on, though, are they?
No,
yeah, they won 2-1.
Yeah, they're up.
So
Yeah, but they
then
won.
Congrats to Houston and congrats to the Giants, too. You confused me for a second.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
When you look at the wind that was happening in Los Angeles yesterday, Covino even hit me up saying, Yo, my patio, I'm freaking out. In fact, you put it on your social media, like your cushions were everywhere. There was branches falling.
My patio cushions were all over the floor.
I'm not even joking. We go for a little family walk. It's a nice way to get the kids to get a little energy out. It's nice after dinner when it's getting dark out. We take a little walk around the block with the dog and the kids, right? Emmy wanted to go for a longer walk. I'm not even joking. This sounds dramatic, but I had to pick up Emmy and be like, all right, Emmy, just put your head against Daddy's chest. And I walked home with her because there was so much dust and branches and leaves blowing that she's like, Dad. Like, it was so windy that it was like, slightly dangerous. The wind was so strong. And I only bring that up because if you watch the Dodgers game last night, 2 outs in the 9th inning, Giants are up 1-0. I'm forgetting who was up for the Dodgers because it wasn't one of their big stars. It wasn't like a Betts or a Bellinger or someone like that.
It was,
some young
Pedro
cat.
Guerrero.
No, it was
Pedro
Kurt Gibson.
Guerrero.
This young kid gets all of it. The ball off the crack of the bat, the people in the left field stands, the outfielder, everyone's like, fuck, home run, tie game. This ball fucking died where the outfielder was against the wall and then had to run back in to catch it. The guy who hit the ball, Spot, I know it's hard to find maybe, but his expression was like,
got caught in the wind. Yeah, it was windy as AF.
It was
yesterday.
the 3rd out.
Scary windy.
It was the 3rd out in the 9th inning. This guy that hit the ball stood there with his hands on his hips like, yo, I got all of that. What the fuck? Like, in disbelief.
It was so windy, I was a little scared by it. Like, something wicked this way comes.
Yo, dude,
What
it
is
was wild. If you saw the last out of the Dodgers game, Spot, it might be easy to just look up on Twitter, but the last out of the Dodgers game, this guy fucking rocked it. And the wind was so crazy.
Was your toupee flapping in the wind?
My toupee was like,
Pop toupee was like,
telling you. We got to
so the Braves win.
And the answer to your
Houston
question
wins.
And the answer to your question.
Giants
by the
wins.
way.
I'll tell you what Sean said, though. Sean the
I-
lawyer says, hey, congratulations to Boston. Boston is more classic baseball than New York. Difficult to digest.
hold on one
but
second,
the
Spot.
stadium is way more classic.
Hold on, Spot.
I'll say it. Old Yankee Stadium was this way, but not anymore.
Well,
He's saying there's a
you
lot
know
of
what?
history there, obviously.
There was
but
a lot. There's a
I'm
lot
like,
of.
get outta
There's a
here.
lot of history in the old Yankee Stadium. Babe Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle.
How about all the championships they won there too?
But keep in mind, the answer is one that you're not going to like. There's long history that goes back to Fenway, and also that tradition's continued for the last 20 years, where Yankee Stadium is iconic. Memories were made, but the Green Monster, the pesky pole. The fact that Boston is standing by that stadium, the Steinbrenners fucking broke it down and built a new one.
Sean Small. You're right. The house that Ruth built. That was one. Look, here's where you can never win that argument.
Okay,
it's no longer here. So
it's how legendary could it be?
Yeah, they fucking. I think they made a mistake.
If it was still
as
here,
a Yankees fan, and you feel the same way, they made a big mistake tearing that.
Yeah,
down.
I mean, listen,
they did. It was iconic.
Here's the deal: as a Mets fan,
oh, Citi Field's beautiful.
Back in the day, Shea Stadium was a piece of shit. And Yankee Stadium,
because it was so timely,
and Yankee,
it was like going back to the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, if you went to Shea Stadium, it felt like you were in 1972 or something.
It really did.
Even though they built it in the 60s, there was a 70s vibe when they revamped it.
Yeah,
The field level, the seats were like in little cages.
The look
like,
of it, yeah.
It was very 70s. Then it had the neon 80s on the outside of the stadium. Shea Stadium was weak.
It was.
And the old Yankee Stadium was like, yo, the history.
It felt.
You walked in there and you're like, look at the facade. Is it the facade? The white fencing.
Had a mystique to it. It even had like a haze. Like you felt you were dreaming. Like,
New Yankee Stadium's sterile.
yeah.
And City Field is nice.
I have no desire to go to the
City
New Yankee
Field is
Stadium.
beautiful. And when it comes to classic stadiums, we made our way to Fenway when we did our last road
It
trip.
may be hard to digest, but Fenway, way more classic.
It's hard for a Yankee fan to admit, but because Yankee Stadium is no longer here, the argument's already dead. Fenway, Green Monster, pesky pole, the vibe, the
But
look.
if it was.
Everything about it. Everything. The only good thing about Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium, is the garlic fries.
Yeah.
It's the only
whatever.
good thing about the new Yankee Stadium.
Enjoy
and
your
by the way,
baseball.
Bleacher Bum, I'm with you. Wrigley Field is a close two. It was
I've never
a top,
been, but I'm
it was
sure.
it was a top 3.
Yeah.
Now it's
I've
now it's
been
number
on
2.
the outside. I've never been on the inside. but
Wrigley Field is pretty cool.
Legendary, yeah. Legendary for
I
sure.
will say it's not a great viewing experience. I've been to a couple Cubs games. You could say it's my ADD, but because it's so legendary, they don't really do much like fan interaction. Like it's sort of like very old timey times.
The question was more legendary, more classic. Fenway or old Yankee Stadium, but old Yankee Stadium's no longer here. It was a wrong move to knock it down.
And
there's no question.
Andrew
about
brings
that.
up a good point. Iconic for the history, Yankee Stadium, but iconic for the unique vibe and what it brings to sports. Yankee Stadium was just a cool stadium that, like, yo, where we're standing now, Babe Ruth was hitting home runs.
It looked cool though.
It did look cool, but it was more about, it's a basic stadium that just has more history than any other stadium other than like a Roman Coliseum
Felt magical.
in modern history. Fenway is one of the most unique stadiums in all of sports because baseball.
It really represents Boston, though. It really does, right? Like
Here's
Boston, Green Monster.
Here's a great question that I bet you.
Boston.
You know how you always bring up
Your
Wade
cousin
Bags
from Boston.
You know how you always bring up that your girlfriend Jordan will ask you really great questions that you never thought of because it's from a non-fan
Fan
perspective.
She always
like,
stumps me with the most
like,
random questions.
how come the players do this? And you're like, oh no, I never thought about that.
I never thought about it.
Someone
Trust me, no one really focuses on those things.
I think someone
now.
someone
No.
asked me something recently.
Like, give me an example.
Oh, dude, they're so like arbitrary. Like, yeah, it's a great question. I don't know because it really doesn't matter or pertain to the game.
Like a question
Like,
I would
I-
ask.
No,
Like, why does
like,
that? Why
she's
do- like-
great at
like-
it though.
like,
She asks
why
me
do-
the most.
don't-
I gotta write
it,
it
it
down.
could be as dumb as like, but like dumb and fun is like, hey, how come some players like wear high socks and other guys wear baggy pants? Is there a rule?
Oh,
Is there a rule? I don't know.
No, I guess
Never thought about it.
rule.
rule.
I don't know. I just
No, I don't know.
I don't know the answer.
Some guys have like dirty. Some guys have like dirty pine tar helmets, and other guys have clean helmets. Like, why?
They go from that to
tradition.
in-depth questions, and I'm like, I don't know.
I don't.
Look at Rich fucking breaking shit. Richie rambles. This is what happens when you give this guy too much caffeine. If you're listening, he fucking knocked the lights out.
I'm
But
good.
they're back. But they're back.
Sarah, get the edibles.
So here's a question that someone asked me. Oh wait, this is a good one. How come when the ball hits the foul pole, it's fair? Shouldn't it be called the fair pole?
Wait a second.
Hold
Hold on.
That's like one of those like drive on the parkway, park on the
I
driveway.
mean, it's just
things.
part of the rule. It's fair. Yeah, but do you know why?
You know why? It's why.
I don't know. I never really. I don't know. But I thought you watch baseball all the time. You don't know. I'm like, no.
Here's a good
You're right.
question.
I don't know.
I mean, the answer is obvious, I guess, but maybe it's not. How come?
Is every foul pole the same?
No, they're not, and that's part of my question. Spot. Answer this. Does anyone know the answer?
Are some thicker than others?
Everyone.
Yeah. Whose uncle? Who's
got
the name of
the-
my uncle who climbed the old Yankee Stadium
No.
foul pole?
Answer this.
Who's got the thickest pole?
All sports, the majors.
Frank Thomas.
Hockey,
And the ladies love it too.
basketball, football, baseball. The 4 majors. Throw in the real football as well, soccer. Why? Oh, why is baseball the only sport that every stadium's dimensions, little foul territory, every dimension is different in each stadium? Meanwhile, every other sport, yeah, you could have different backgrounds. You could have turf versus grass. You could have different colors
That's not true. In Ted Lasso, they said that there was different size fields.
for different leagues.
For different leagues?
Not within the same league, I don't think.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong, but why?
I never knew that. I
Oh,
don't
why?
think.
Why is that like if you're playing in Vegas or you're playing in San Francisco, New York,
Boxing, different size
Bay,
rings.
Green Bay? Why is it like oh yeah, and the Yankee Stadium's fucking really shallow corners and a deep center field, but then you go to Fenway. It's a fucking monster screen monster. It's
Home
only
field advantages.
It's under 300
I'm sure it
feet, but
started
it's
from
100 feet high.
Maybe to accommodate the stars that they had at that time they were built.
Houston got rid of it, Andrew, but remember Houston
That
had a
was
little
fucking
fucking
terrible.
a little hill
They had a
in
little
center
golf
field.
course in the middle
They
or
had a
some
hill
shit.
in
It's
center
terrible.
field. I thought it was cool.
They had a little mini golf course. It sucked. Anyway,
I
don't want to
fucking
ramble.
thought, but why is that? It gives it a backyard feeling. Like
I mean, it provides home field advantage.
Remember when you were- when
think
you were a
about it
kid?
from today's perspective. They build a short porch in Yankee Stadium, but build their team around that. So I imagine that it had to do with the stars they had at the time. They try to customize the home field
They have a
advantage to
porch?
their sort of benefit.
Oh, remember like Detroit had the short. Detroit used to have that overhang porch in right field where lefties would hit the ball that wouldn't go out if it was field level, but the porch hung over. That if you hit it high enough, it would be a home run.
Why don't all stadiums have that like dead zone in the stands out there?
Oh, that's so it doesn't distract the batter's line of vision.
Really?
Yeah, the center field has to be black.
Think about it. If they,
Has
they
to
had
be?
people,
Yeah.
if
How
they
do
had
they
people
see
in the
that far?
stands, but if they had people in the stands, the ball could get lost and mixed in with white shirts
So
or
center
anything
field,
like that.
center field has to have like dimensions of like just.
So there's an
plain.
answer to that. I wish Jordan would ask me that question.
That's a
He
good-
asks
that's a
me
good
questions
question.
that I don't know the answer to. So thank you guys.
Why
for
do the
hearing us
Yankees
out.
not have names on their jerseys?
Why don't?
Why don't
Yeah.
they? Here would my answer would be because they never did.
But why?
But why, Steve?
Why? I don't know.
All the other teams
No.
do. Oh, you know what the answer probably is? Well, Jordan, the Yankees have been around for over 100 years. So back then, no one had names on the jerseys. And as new teams entered the league, someone started it, and the Yankees kept their tradition not to, much like the Cubs.
But there's an answer to that.
Do you know
and
the history
I'm not
of
sure
the
if that's it.
of the logo?
The interlocking NY.
Yeah.
No name on the back, of course, as Michael Kay used to say when he called the game. The
Well-
history of the interlocking NY.
No, but we all know the history of the interlocking New York NY for the Mets, right? It was the Mets have the colors of the Brooklyn Dodgers
Oh, we just saw
and
that.
the San Francisco Giants. But I mean, as a Mets fan, this is something
Yeah.
you know, but maybe other people didn't know. When the Giants went from New York to San Francisco and the Dodgers went from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, they took the blue of the Dodgers and the orange of the Giants. And they took the logo.
That's
and,
cool, though.
And they took the font of the Giants and the Dodgers and sort of did a little hybrid, and hence the New York Mets.
Well, hey, there's lots of questions we don't know the answers to.
Well, anyway.
But one I posed is Fenway the most iconic? Anyway, they move on. Congratulations to the Red Sox. Congratulations to the Ravens who pulled out an overtime win over the Colts. Colts sort of just blew it. And what?
I was
What?
going to say, Spot, I want him to play that home run. That wasn't a home run.
Oh, you got it? Found it, Spotty?
The guy hit the ball.
Yeah. Who was it?
I'm not quite sure who it is. We'll see. But this is the final out of the game. This dude smokes it.
Smack shot.
And off the crack of the bat, you can see the fans and everyone like, oh! And then it just dies. Go ahead.
The 1-0. Lofts in the air. That ball's hit well. That ball's back. Duggar on the track. Makes the catch to win the
Look
game.
at his face. Oh, they don't show his face. I was like, they show the batter's face. He's in disbelief because that ball would have went. Look, everyone's cheering the pitchers.
Here's his face.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck? I hit all of that.
But it was gone.
Well,
That's great.
Sports.
Yay, the wind held it up. The wind was nasty yesterday.
By the way, you should research your team if you're such a fan.
Me?
research him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are things you should know. These are fun facts you should know.
Nah.
Why don't
Well,
the
what's the
Yankees?
answer?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Why don't the Yankees have names on their jerseys?
Oh, I
That's
don't
a
know.
simple
I would
Google
say,
code.
I agree with what you just said. Most didn't.
I would imagine most teams didn't in the early days.
They,
and when other
they
teams
also didn't have that many uniforms that there was someone there sewing names on the back all the time.
and also, I think the Yankees have been very adamant about tradition where
well, I know
every
why
team-
they
every
don't
team-
now.
every
They
team
don't
now-
now because they stood to the
Yeah.
tradition. They're the only team that done.
think about
that's
it.
done that.
Every team has special Friday uniforms and alternate uniforms. The Yankees have two uniforms. They don't
You know what
They don't vary.
Reason number 1, tradition.
Yeah.
Reason number 2, profit.
And why do they go counterclockwise? Has Jordan asked you that? Why do they run counterclockwise? Why wouldn't first base? Why wouldn't first base be on the left?
That would be something. Is there a reason?
Fuck, another thing I don't really know.
The reason? I don't know the reason, but it just is. Like, yeah, a lot of times I'm like, I don't know, just this. Just this. I accepted it as such. But how come it would think about it? And I'm like,
I don't know the answer.
Since the majority of the population would find it easier to throw without first turning and to swing the bat right-handed, counterclockwise base running gradually prevailed. The left-handed batter stands closer to first base, and this provides his team with an offensive advantage.
See, Vic said he always heard that the Yankees don't have uniform names because the team is bigger than the individual. That's probably just something someone said.
yeah,
That's
I
something
never
someone
heard
said.
that. I never heard that.
And
Oh,
no,
and
no
right
one's
now-
let me promise you, no one said that in
And the
1920.
insignia, by the way, the logo was designed by, I believe,
Betsy Ross.
no, I must be the Tiffany guy because his last name is Tiffany. Tiffany's
Yeah.
jeweler, to the first cop shot in New York in the 1800s.
Oh,
So
wow.
they adopted that as the logo.
That's cool. I like that.
I remember that. I remember reading that. There's a plaque in the lobby.
You just sounded like Christopher Walken.
There's a plaque.
There's a plaque.
Foo Fighters. There's a plaque in the lobby of the home office of the Yankees that describes the logo. I remember reading that as I was waiting to meet Mariano Rivera.
History.
Well, congratulations again to all the teams that won. Houston, Giants, Braves, Red Sox, and Ravens last night, who came back to win the game. Colts were winning the whole time. JC in Kentucky was all fired up about it. Sorry, buddy.
Well, it just shows that when
But the Ravens win.
When you have a good week, you have a good week. When you have a bad week, you have a bad week. As far as gambling goes, I was 5-0 going into last night, and I'm like, if the Ravens win, I'm 6-0 this week.
So you're saying if
When
I'm
they
not
were
having a good week,
when they were losing,
having a
I
bad
was
week.
like, well, it can't be perfect. I guess I'll lose once. 6-0, which means next week my dope picks, I'll go 0-6. Because you don't go 6-0 and then follow it up with a good week.
Congrats, bud.
Yeah, I won all my losings back.
Speaking of football, the big story was John Gruden. That's the elephant in the room. We could talk about toasters. We could talk about Fenway. We could talk about fucking interlocking NYs all day. The biggest story in the news by far was John Gruden getting fired. And the minute I heard there was more to the story, like the first story, yeah, okay, you can get by and say it had nothing to do with race, right?
Well,
But when he didn't back down, they still
That's
kept him
the thing.
around, and they did more investigating, and all this other shit came out.
Well-
the minute I saw, oh shit, he offended gays and women and the commissioner, and
Well-
he said all these different things. He didn't stand for Black Lives Matter. He made a racial slur the day before or whatever in the emails from 10 years ago.
Well, a lot
I'm
of-
like, this guy is
Here's the-
done.
here's the
Because
thing.
now you just
Stack
added
it
all this
up.
to it. You can't
Yeah.
Excuse
get
me.
past that now.
I mean, here's the thing.
I was like, oh, God, he's done. 8 minutes later, done. I was like, I knew it. Yeah,
Well-
he's fucking done.
If you guys were doing your, I wouldn't say research, but if you were reading up on this stuff last night, the sentiment is that it was like a game of chicken. The minute he stepped down, they were probably going to stop releasing stuff. But it was almost like hey, if you start release, if you don't want to back down, we'll keep leaking things until we make it uncomfortable.
Lips like Michigan tires.
Lips like tires and
Hey, rubber lips. That means he can't keep his mouth shut
Yeah,
or whatever
like,
he
you
said.
can you can make the argument
Rubber lips.
and you thought he called the commissioner a pussy.
Right.
So yeah, as of like 24 hours ago,
You're
you were
like,
like,
okay.
you're like, all right, he called the commissioner a
Whatever.
pussy.
Not a
And-
fireable offense. Not a fireable offense. Not a good look,
All right,
but
he called the commissioner pussy, and he said that some guy had rubber lips, and he said it had nothing to do with race. It meant like blabbermouth, and you're like, all right, maybe Gruden, maybe we're being a little much here. And then because he didn't step down,
Can you say loose lips?
but he says it's a phrase he always uses. Spot. I don't know. Everyone has different phrases.
Yeah, because the phrase loose lips sink ships isn't like fucking
All right. Well, guess what, Spot? That's
older
not
than
his phrase. You expect everyone to use your phrases. So
yeah, the
up until
first part of the story, like
first part of the story was
man,
like,
ooh, okay,
like, yeah,
whatever.
really, he's got a raw deal, huh?
Yeah. Personal emails. Oh,
The
man.
second part of the story, when John Gruden doesn't back down, then it's like, no.
Listen here, Gruden. We got more than rubber lips. We got more than Michelin tires. We got all this. If you don't back down now, we're going to release the rest.
Well, hold on. All he said was the commissioner's a pussy, and he said some guy's a big mouth, and someone thought it might be racial. I think he could get away with this. Round 2. Fight. Round 2.
Keep in mind, Gruden was he was hired in 2018, 10 years, $100 million contract with the Raiders. They wanted him this bad. Davis wanted Gruden from the start, from the get-go. Had to give him $100 million to step out of the booth.
Wow.
He's coming out of the booth
to be the coach for the Raiders. So highly sought after, high profile coach in this scenario, if you don't know.
Now,
Round 2.
I just wonder.
Round 2
Fight.
of the emails. That's what you were saying.
Yeah. I just wonder the people, like, at some point, no one could defend what he said. Because as things got worse and worse, it was like, well, I mean, come on now. But as it kept going, and it was like, all right, so now he didn't call the commissioner a pussy. Turns out he called him the F word.
Frankenstein.
A gay slur. So he threw out some gay slurs about the commissioner. He insinuated that Jeff Fisher, when he was coaching, was pressured into drafting a gay player, but he didn't use the word gay. Used another slang term for gay people. Then he criticized female officials.
Yeah.
And then
he did everything. He did absolutely everything.
And then he did
he broke every sort of like social issue rule he could possibly
and then
break.
he just seemed to. I think
No, you had one more. It was Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. But
he didn't believe in the.
But not many people did. Back then,
it doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's not a popular look for a man leading minorities into battle. That's what they're doing. They're playing football.
This is not a. Again, I'm just gonna play the role of someone that loves to defend people. At first you could, but then it's like, well, I mean, we go by the rule here on Covino and Rich, and we have for a while, and I think it's the best rule we've come up with. And that rule is, if you wouldn't do it, why are you defending someone that did? Because you, on the playground, in your grown man life, probably called one of your buddies like, dude, you're being so gay or this or that. We all used language 10, 20, 30 years ago that wasn't accepted now. But never in my life, and your life, and Spot's life, or maybe you watching or listening, would you put in writing or say in public discriminatory things, racial things, sexist things, but I'm talking like in work email form? That would be like you emailing your boss or someone.
A lot of thought goes into things you write. Let's keep that in mind.
I saw a lot of feedback. I saw a lot of feedback saying that, and this is a great point. A lot of boomers, and I hate to use the word boomers, but it just describes our parents' generation. Probably people like late 50s, 60s, 70s. That generation probably didn't realize back then that people keep receipts. Emails are forever.
By the way, Jason Brown makes a really funny comment. He says, Gruden checked all the boxes for being a bigot. He won bigot bingo.
Did he get the free square in the middle?
Laughing my ass off. He's like,
did
he offend
over?
Gay people? Check.
Check.
Gay people? Minorities?
Come on.
Women?
Come on, I have Hispanics. As he says, come on. Oh, you win.
Wait, he called the commissioner. Oh, he won bigot bingo. Bingo. He got them all. He checked them all.
And EJ said it best. Bingo. Don't defend behavior you wouldn't do. End of story, which is why...
It's not end of story.
No, but I have so many angles on this. Because
there's other things to speculate.
Would you...
We're not defending it, but there's things to speculate.
Would you, watching and listening, ever, in your work email, personal email, or any situation... especially professionally, forget personal life. Personal life, you could say that's equally wrong because it just shows you're a piece of shit. But work email and regular email, you would never say things
but
about.
Does it really? I mean, on a technicality, yes. We have to know better, right? If you're the leader of a team, you should be the guy who knows better than to ever put this
And anyone-
in an email in print.
And anyone defending him, right?
But it still doesn't make it right to be able to, hey, I would never email this shit, but I'll joke around with my friends about it.
No.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is, when you
Let's
are,
be honest.
if you're a guy working in a factory or a blue collar guy or some guy hanging out with his buddies, and you got caught saying something or doing something dumb. Not saying it's excusable, but you're the length of the leash you're given, right? It's a little longer than a guy that's been put in charge of a $1 billion brand, and you're being paid $10 million a year, and you're representing and leading a group of men that are mostly black.
Right. You're
Put-
against
you gotta-
everything.
you gotta
you're
look
against
at-
all the changes that the league's trying to
gotta
make
look- you
and
gotta
what the
look
league's
at
trying to
you
stand
gotta
for.
look at the particular case.
And what the Raiders organization is trying to stand for. So
Yeah.
they had no choice but to let him go. I get all that. But here's the question that arises from that. There's no defending Gruden, but there are things to speculate. And those things are, do we all just have to understand that personal emails just are never personal? That's one thing we all need to keep in mind.
It's a good lesson.
That doesn't mean that we should be mad that we can't say discriminatory things to our friends through email. That's not the point. The point is we should know better moving forward that
Nothing.
wait, that was a personal email. How'd the New York Times get this stuff? Like anything we put out there, it should make you think. Did you have gripes with anybody and you emailed some shit?
Well, that's-
They could use that against you clearly, even though it was personal. That's something to keep in mind moving forward and something to think about in your past. And it could be as simple as, I don't know, let's say you have a gripe with a fucking loved one or some shit, and you were arguing back and forth about some shit. They may have some stuff on you that you might not even realize. And you're thinking in your mind, well, that was personal. No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, especially like a company email, of course.
Yeah.
Nothing you send
That's even more dumb.
from your company domain is safe.
Yeah, no.
Any IT person can go in and pull your email.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of people say, anything you put in an email, you better be prepared to say on a fucking podium somewhere.
But it goes even
Yeah.
further than that.
Your personal
here's
email,
what we need to keep in
you
mind.
might be able to skate by,
as-
but those even come out too.
Sean saying, wonder why they waited 3 years to leak this. You never know people's agendas, but they were in the middle. If people don't know the backstory, let me just give you the Cliff Notes. What's the other thing?
Cliff My Saga?
I grew up with,
Monarch Notes.
Is it Monarch Notes? I grew up with Cliff Notes. My wife said, what's Cliff Notes? And she said some other shit. I'm like, what?
I grew up
Spark
with
Notes.
Brian Burns notes.
Spark Notes was a website.
Spark Notes. Yeah,
that was
that's the one.
for the younger people because it was online.
Yeah, I was like,
we actually
Spark
had to.
Notes.
We had to go.
I had a yellow little book
we
by
had
a
to
guy
go
named Cliff.
and buy books.
Brian Byrne was a kid in class that I sort of like, come on, bro. And he'd be like-
But Monarch Notes was the competitor.
He'd hide his,
You know who that was
notes
for
from
me?
He'd hide his notes.
You know who that was for me?
Stop.
Joe Romano. You
Really?
know what Joe Romano started doing?
What?
I mean,
like, yo, bro, come on.
looking back, I was trying to cheat. But
Probably had Gabagool
but
in the
let's
Gabagool
say,
in the pages.
let's say he had a Scantron sheet.
Yeah.
I'd do a little peek over there.
Yeah.
C-A. Nobody got to do it. He would do all the work, and then right before the teacher would say, hand in your paper, he'd be like, C-A-B. Like, he would wait to fill out a Scantron, like a little prick.
Oh, what's his name?
Joe
Romano's
Romano.
notes. Romano's
Romano's
notes.
It's weird that you sound upset that you weren't allowed to cheat
I was.
off
I'd be
someone.
like, yo, what's
Yeah.
up, Brian?
What a
You
fucking
get-
dick, right,
What a fucking
Brian?
little dick you are.
that sounds really odd.
Yeah, what a dick.
So go ahead. Give us the Romano notes.
Not that you didn't do the work.
Romano notes.
Give me the Romano notes.
The Romano notes are this. They're doing an investigation on Dan Snyder, guy that runs the Washington football team, the guy that was reluctant to change the name from Redskins, the guy that's sort of like not the most loved guy around the NFL. Apparently, I've heard people that have dealt with this guy in a business sense. He's a bad man, not Aaron Rodgers' bad man. He's like just a bad guy. He's a dick.
Snyder.
And during this Snyder investigation, they came across all these emails.
And a tool belt.
And John Gruden, it wasn't an investigation about him. It was an investigation about someone else. His emails were just caught up in the mix of thousands of emails. And people are like, well, you're trying to tell me all they found was John Gruden? So this might be one of those things where
It's going to unravel.
it's going to unravel so
pulling
much
the
more.
thread.
Yeah.
The thread has been pulled. It's happening.
What's going to happen?
It's just
That's-
a reminder that there's so much ammo against you out there that you're not realizing. You're thinking, like, I'll use JC in Kentucky for an example, right? Listener, friend of ours, he may throw out a question about something controversial we were talking about, right? Let's just say I want to give him my, like, unfiltered opinion as a bruv.
Hey, bruv.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just hypothetically saying, yeah, to be honest, we've all said shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm responding to JC in Kentucky or something. That could be a little aha. I'm going to screenshot that and just keep it in the back pocket. Just in case. I don't know. Look what he said. I got proof. People operate in really weird ways.
Yeah.
By the way, JC in Kentucky would never do something like that. And I would never say some off-color shit to anybody in that way.
But it's just a reminder.
Especially texting, because
that's
I'm
right,
not as dumb as Gruden.
And you know what's a reminder? It's
But
a reminder
anybody
that
could screenshot anything.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say some dude sent you a fucking picture of some girl, and he's like, would you? That shit's likely to happen. You're a fucking random buddy. Bro, look at the ass on this girl. Would you? Would you? And you'd be like, fuck yeah, you know it. Nose ass deep. He screenshots that, sends it to your wife. Like, oh! Was it ever private? That's the reminder. Was it ever private? Was it ever personal? Should you know better on a work email?
I'll give you the
absolutely.
I'll give you the more common one.
There is no personal anything.
It's the more common one, which would be your buddy sends you a meme or some type of sexist or racist joke that he saw on social media, and he sends it to you. If you just write back like, haha, funny, like, are you now, is there proof that you find some racist joke funny?
Right, you're like you're an accomplice in this whole sort of thing.
So even if someone texts you or emails you like, yo, look at it, and it's
you're
like
condoning this.
Yeah, let's say it's some questionable joke.
It's
But you're like, haha.
Colin Kaepernick, what a fucking jerk off. And you're like, yeah, or just you liked it. Like, look at this, I got proof.
Jeez.
Here's a fucking bigot. Like, you can't leave any sort of trail. What should or what you thought was personal should be, but it's not.
No.
I think that's the reminder here, and the takeaway, aside from you have to be bigger and better than this.
How about you just work to be a better person?
That's fine, Spot, but are you a bad person for saying, yeah, I'd fucking hit that?
Spot. If
It's
some
like,
guy,
are you a bad person?
if some guy hit you up,
that makes you a bad person.
if one of our listeners hit you up,
for brubbing it up
if
with
one
somebody?
of our listeners over the years sent you a meme or something that was
Photo of-
totally
let's
insensitive
say
or
like a-
questionable or sexist or something, and he was like, look at this, Spot. If you just wrote back, haha, funny, does that mean you now, you're being polite to this guy, being like, yeah, funny? Or would you say, hey, man, I don't appreciate your sexist memes?
Well, keep it real then.
What would you write?
Yeah, maybe you gotta.
If some guy
better and
if
bigger
some,
than
if
that.
some
I
guy
guess.
sent you what could be construed and interpreted as a sexist meme,
I'm just gonna say, yeah, man, I failed recess. He's like, what do you mean by that? I don't play. Like,
do you?
And I'm
Spot,
not
be-
even
be
going.
honest,
like
be
if-
honest,
like if
be
someone
honest.
said,
You're
okay, bro.
trying to tell me.
Like if someone sent me a photo of like Sophia Beverly, and I was like, I'd play those titties like bongo drums, and then they screenshot it and
I'm like,
sent
yo,
it to my wife.
There you go.
Then I get it. Okay,
Yeah,
All right.
nothing's
That's all you have to
personal.
say.
I mean,
all you have to say.
I'm saying that's like a funny example, Spot, because we all know your wife doesn't care, and Sophia's like a friend of the show. But I'm saying, what if it was not? What if it was a listener?
I think she'd care.
I mean, you say shit like this all the time.
I know. I think.
But I'm saying, what if it was? Be serious for 1 second. What if one of our listeners sent you something like, "Yo, Spot, check this out," and it was like a racist joke essentially, and you wrote back, "Ha ha, just ha ha." Are you now?
Let's say it was a racist riddle and you answered it.
Got him.
I mean, it's out there. It's out there. Gruden, as a leader especially, should have known better. That's not some sort of puseta sort of take. That's just fact.
Yo, you are a leader and getting paid $10 million to be a leader, a good man, and someone that represents $1 billion organization.
By the way, who are you leading? Mostly minority people. And when they find out you're not really behind their fight, it's never going to work. So he had no choice but to resign. Was there some sort of payout? They owed Gruden about $60 million. I'm sure they worked something out. But apparently, Captain Kangaroo, the owner of the Raiders, was. You ever see him, Spot? Pull him up. Yeah. Captain Kangaroo was apparently heartbroken. It was a really emotional sort of goodbye, but there was no way they could keep him. And you got to lie in the bed you make. But
well, did
again,
you see
what's
some
personal isn't personal in today's
Let's
world.
see.
Everybody keep that in mind. Now,
But here's the question.
It's
Do you
also
think-
interesting that
Honestly, is this Captain Kangaroo?
It's a great haircut.
Rich's uncle.
Maybe that's maybe I should when we get Ben his first haircut. Maybe I take that picture to the barber. We want to give my son this.
What is this?
And by the way, I want people to understand.
Did this come up in any emails?
Yeah, but John Boyd is saying he was a retired coach at the time. Not that it makes it right, but yeah, John. But just saying, it's a reflection, I guess, of his character. Now, listen, if he said things that we all sort of said behind closed doors,
there's consequence.
Then I'd say, all right, but this is he crossed lines that he crossed lines. Like, what? Read the stuff he wrote.
He did.
You would never be saying that.
It's not
stuff.
like he had a misstep. Like those, you said you could kind of like be like, okay, this could be taken another way. Those first two things he said.
Yeah, I was team
misstep?
team Gruden when I thought John
A
Gruden
misstep is allowed.
Spot when I thought he said Roger Goodell's a pussy and that guy's got rubber lips, meaning he talks a lot. I was like, really? Man, I'm Team Gruden on this one. And then I was like, not Team Gruden anymore. after round two. By the way, I got to ask you a couple things. I'm reading feedback on social media. I'm going to read a few things. Tell me if you agree. This is a man who publicly was one thing, a jovial, kooky leader, and liked. These emails obviously uncovered the real John Gruden.
That goes back to what we talked about last week, Spotty, about not matching up with your brand.
Oh, yeah.
With Urban Meyer. Like Urban Meyer, holier than thou, but then you see he's sort of a hypocrite on what he preaches. You're never going to win back your team that way.
But what I'm saying is, do you believe that, or do you believe that men and women and people make mistakes, and sometimes what you write and what you think and how you act don't necessarily match up? Like, yeah, kooky, jovial leader that people love.
That doesn't matter.
Is this the real John Gruden?
No, you could.
They're both the real John Gruden.
No, it was the real. Hey, we made off-color jokes for fucking the first 15 years of our show.
It's all of it. It's your public and private persona or who you are.
No, people change.
I'm saying at the moment.
At the moment, okay.
Now, but we also got to keep in mind, all these emails were not all a decade ago. These spanned over almost a decade. It's not like...
This isn't Eric Clapton saying something on stage in the 70s.
Yeah, this isn't Eric Clapton making a racist comment 45 years ago.
He won big at bingo. We already...
Yeah, we realized. And what about this? Jerry Jones saying... Because Jerry Jones is going to get shit for this, I believe.
What did Jenny Jones have to say?
She said, I miss Rude Jude. Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys, said...
Jenny Jones said he went from hero to zero.
In regards to John Gruden's resignation, Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys, said, quote, I know these people. I know everyone that you've been reading about. They're outstanding proponents of our game. They have represented this game in many cases beautifully. They asked Jerry Jones about John Gruden. And he then said, does Gruden deserve to lose his job? Jerry Jones said, I don't have anything I want to express there, one way or the other. From the standpoint of contribution, I know that we are all accountable to even a, if you will, fleeting or minor part of our actions. We are all accountable to those. But that's about all I want to comment on. That seems to me like Jerry Jones is a friend and tight with John Gruden and is like, yo, I'm not 100% going to bury this man. Do you get that same vibe?
You know what I see there? Let he without sin. That's the first step.
Yeah, and that's sort of, you know what, my only thing that I would say that is, quote, a little controversial is that I don't think anyone should say these things. I think John Gruden stepping down is a good idea because he should have been let go or resign, whatever the case may be.
There was no option.
There was no coming back.
But to let him go.
I'm not saying he should have kept his job. My only quote thing that people might not agree with is I'm amazed at the crocodile tears I see on networks. Like everyone,
Sandy Lyle?
Randy Moss?
like everyone making it seem like they haven't encountered people at the bar, at the gym, in their family, at gatherings.
on.
Like no one. So you're trying to tell me you've never bumped into jerk offs in your life? And if John Gruden's a jerk off, people make it seem like they're flabbergasted.
But the people that are screaming, like, let's say racism, that's racist. They don't say racist shit ever. I find that very, very hard to believe. I find that impossible.
That's what I say. Let he without
to believe. Impossible.
Let he
And
without sin.
do I think they had no choice but to let him go and fire him? 100%. Especially in today's social
He
climate.
resigned.
It's a no-win scenario. He has to go, right? He lost the locker room. He lost the public. He lost everybody with this.
It's more about that. I think it's more about
But
there's no
hold on.
recovery.
I mean, there's legitimate criminals in the NFL. You got to keep that in mind, too. This guy, he's gone for emails.
He's gone for being a bad guy, essentially.
And I agree. He should be gone, especially in the position he's in. Not defending it. I'm just saying there's going to be a backlash. If you haven't seen it already, I'm just telling you what's going to, what's going to happen.
But
Things
Spot,
like that
Spot,
unfold.
what Covino's
People are
saying
going to
is,
speculate
was
like,
he-
but come on now. Let's be realistic about it. He said some stupid shit in some emails.
Question.
Yeah, we get all that.
Before you say anything, was he urged to leave, or did he get ahead of it?
he got ahead of it, but a little. He could have got even more ahead of it and resigned the day before, and we probably wouldn't even have known this stuff.
He made a public
The
statement.
New York Times and people were, like I said, Spot, insinuating that the longer it went on, it was a game of chicken, where if John Gruden probably didn't resign still, there might be like round two of and then he even said this. So we don't even know if there's more, right?
Right.
So my point is, you know what? I don't want it to become this. I don't want it to become when people say, well, Donald Trump did this. Well, Hillary did this. Well, Biden did this. Well, Obama did this. Well, Bush did. People love to, what's the phrase, Spot? They love to deflect, right?
Bush.
This is not a deflection. I don't want it to be interpreted as a deflection. But if you're going to cast aside John Gruden, rightfully so, for these actions,
No denying that.
then should we take a better look at domestic abuse, criminal activity, and all
That's what
these
I'm
other
saying.
type of things?
That's what I'm saying.
So
How do-
I'm just
how do you
saying
feel-
consistency.
So you want a
how do you
zero
feel-
tolerance policy now?
How do you think the victims of those crimes feel about how serious we're taking this?
I don't want to agree, Alejandro. I don't want to do whataboutisms. What about this person? What about this? I just think bigger picture is that if
What about
John
your
Gruden,
friends?
if John Gruden's
You can't have
fucking
this.
out-
We're
yeah.
the NFL and we're super duper righteous. And of course we
And
have
then-
to let
and
him
then-
go
and
and
then-
then
yeah,
be
and then-
okay with other things. You
Oh,
just
yeah,
can't.
yeah. This
That's
guy
not
was
consistent.
this guy was accused of. We have video of this guy kicking a woman. Oh, he's back in the league 6 games later.
Right.
But John Gruden, I mean, then you're pretty much saying
he's
words. Then you're saying words are worse than actions. So you need to be consistent. You can't.
People will speculate on that.
Honestly, are words worse than a dogfighting ring? Are words worse than beating a woman? Are words worse than shooting someone? Are words worse than hitting a child?
Theft. I mean,
Theft. I
there's
mean,
all sorts of
there's all
that
things.
go
So
on.
case by case, I agree, Jason Brown, but I'm just saying 100% agree that John Gruden out. But if John Gruden's out, it's not a whataboutism. It's just let's not say this guy's out because he had fucking disgusting emails. But this guy, he runs for 1,000 yards a year, so we don't care that we have video of him kicking a woman in an elevator. He's a good fucking runner.
What video?
Gruden says,
video?
I have resigned as head coach.
Game tape.
Yeah.
I resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders. Do not want to
Be a distraction.
be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I've never meant to hurt anyone. And now there's, like you said, there's probably more dirt on the guy that we just haven't gotten yet. But players are starting to come out. Keyshawn Johnson is the latest to say, he's always been a fraud to me from day one. He's always been a used car salesman.
Yeah,
so-
pile it on. It's the pile on
And
time.
now here's where everybody automatically changes their mind because they're like,
But you know what? Someone brings up a good question.
He was a serial killer. I saw it in his eyes.
I'm reading. Yeah, it's like Spot. I always say that my favorite example of this is Matt Lauer. He was like America's dad. Everyone loved Matt Lauer. The minute he's a creep, the photos they use of him go from smiling Matt Lauer to like look at the John Gruden picture that ESPN, Fox, and everyone posted. It was not smiling John Gruden. It was like still shot of him angry on the sideline. Like,
You know, it's got to be weird too that most people don't speculate on.
yeah.
John Gruden worked at ESPN, right? John Gruden was in the booth. Now he's getting out of the booth to coach.
What if he was still in the booth?
Anyway, he's had so many relationships with so many people, and those people are the ones that are like forced to write about this. Like, you don't think he and Adam Schefter had
Any type of friendship?
some sort of relationship, and Adam Schefter has got to be like, "Oh, I got the scoop. Here it is."
Yeah, but not only does Adam Schefter have the scoop, Adam Schefter goes balls deep in like,
Yo, this guy's a piece of shit.
And
And
it's like,
that's-
oh man.
That's what he must be like, man. Oh, wow. Like, I know I fucked up, but man.
Again, this is where I urge you, please. I know you say you will, but I know Spot won't. The morning show.
I will
Because
watch it.
you
I'm
see-
waiting for Jordan. It's
I know,
very
but-
difficult sometimes.
I know, but what I'm saying is on
Right?
on the
Right?
morning.
Time it out. Yeah, I want
Right?
to watch Squid Games too, but guess what? I'm waiting.
Right?
But on the morning show,
Right?
My nuts, bro.
right? Spot, right?
Get off
Right?
my nuts.
But
How hard
but-
is it to sync up a show with your woman?
But on the,
stretching my skin, bro. You're stretching my skin.
all right, but on the morning show,
Say,
Covino,
what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Get off my nuts.
Oh, the morning show.
Like that.
On the morning show, Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Not to give anything away, because it's sort of like the whole premise of the show. But there's moments in the show I won't give away too much. But he starts to reach, like, he sort of face to face confronts these people that he worked with for decades that were his closest people, and he's like,
They all turned on.
like what? Like, are you?
Well,
all of
because-
you are now against me?
Alex Efford says, "Wake me up when this combo's over." I mean, Alex, you didn't know who Mark Davis was. So if anything, we're informing you on the biggest story
You know who
of
Mark
the day.
Davis is?
Wake me up before
Mark
you go
Davis,
there.
the guy with the Captain Kangaroo haircut, is the owner of the Raiders.
When he was in the
He
Monday
went-
Night Football booth, everyone thought John Gruden was the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Agreed, they did.
When he did his college football takes, greatest guy ever. Mark Davis went out of his way, overpaid him to pull him out of the booth to coach his team. This was a new start for the organization.
Yeah.
This is a major step back for them. And as Randy Moss cried about, and this is when I really knew it was done, when he was in tears, it's a major step backwards for the NFL and for black people especially feel like, especially for them, they're like, man, we thought we were making progress in the league. We thought we were making some significant changes. And this is how, if this is what we found in just one dude's emails, how does everybody else really feel?
Well-
so, it's a big, big story. Like I said, if anything, we're just giving you our take on it, and we're not going to harp on it much more.
Yeah, I'm done after two comments here. John Gruden facing the consequences of what he did. I agree, Jason.
Yep.
If he can revive his career after the consequences and making a change in his life, that's his second chance. How is this difficult? I'll tell you why, Jason, because that second chance is not going to be easy, because what'll happen is he'll think about,
sometimes goodbye is a second
but
chance.
I'm saying what he'll do
I've
is
heard.
he'll think about what he said. He'll put out some apology. He'll think about his words, and if he's a good guy deep down inside, he'll be ready to roll. But you know what? There'll be people that will forever be like, well, now he's faking it. So it isn't easy for this guy to get a second chance. And then a guy like Wes just writes words, words, words. Preston hit us up, I think, saying something to the effect of like, well, who is this actually offending?
But they couldn't keep him, regardless.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, then other people are like, well, who is he actually offending? Is anyone genuinely, like, mad about this? And then Matt saying,
Find the Randy Moss clips,
I
buddy.
agree. There's a part of me that thought the same way. Matt Ellis said, Randy Moss crying was a bit much. It's like, really, crying?
It was for me, though, like, here's a black man that is so hurt by this. John Gruden's done. He's fucking done. So it could be words, 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 right? Because you're comparing what he did to what else is going on.
What is John Gruden going to do? Move out of
There's
the
no
country?
way they could have kept him. There's that, regardless.
He's 58 years old. What does he do? Move out of the country and go live on an island? He's not going to work in the NFL. He's not going to work in football. So what does he do?
He got a nice payday. There's no way they just said peace out.
Yeah.
He was owed $60 million. All right, so that's the big story, guys. John Gruden.
It's not about
done.
someone being offended. I agree. It's about the actions. Agreed, Andrew. We all could agree. Gone. Deserve to be gone. I think the underlying unanswered questions are, how does a guy or a woman that made these bad mistakes, how do they get a second chance? Is there a blueprint for a second chance? And then is there a sense of, well, is he automatically a bad person because of emails? Like someone could write shit and be like, well, that's not really who I am. It wasn't me. Like when people say that's not me, is it always you? When someone goes, that's not me. When someone makes a mistake, they love to say, well, that's not the real me.
Well, people
Temporary
change.
insanity.
Yeah, but is it sort of you?
People could change.
All right, well, listen, let's move on. I agree. Do you mind if I get a coffee refill? I need to
Not
get
at all.
fired up.
Here's the thing. He's not getting taken to court, so you're not worried about the law.
Right.
You're the only
could do
person
and say what
passing
you want.
judgment is the court of public opinion, and they're much more vicious.
That's why
and much more arbitrary than any. There's no rules in the court of public opinion.
I want to
There's no
acknowledge
rules.
Sean Small. Sean Small,
No
what's up,
rules.
buddy? Welcome back. Glad to see you.
There's no bar. There's no standard. You can do whatever the fuck you want in the court of public opinion.
He says Gruden was clearly homophobic, but not supporting. Yeah, he has a gay player on his team, but not supporting Black Lives Matter, and Kaepernick automatically makes him racist. Black sportscasters like Marcellus Wiley literally say the same things all the time on national TV, but still,
I mean, Black Lives
He
Matter
could
was such
say
a
and think whatever he
polarizing
wants.
organization.
But now the players on his team have to fight for a guy that doesn't even fight for what they fight for. It's never going to work. And it's not what the Raiders stood for as an organization, nor what the NFL is trying to achieve. So he could say and think all he wants. It's just not going to vibe and jive. It's not going to jive. So he has to go. That's why he resigned.
I don't support
it. It is
anyone.
what it is. But again, is
Put
there
that in an email.
hypocrisy? Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of the players and the broadcasters that we see pointing fingers, I guarantee they say some racist shit about other ethnic groups. Guarantee. I'd put my money on it.
You don't got no money.
But I ain't got none. So the end. Now that you got your coffee, I'm going to take a Waz break. This Waz break brought to you by shop.covinoandrich.com. Shop.covinoandrich.com.
Oh, Spot, can you play
Get a
the
hoodie
Can you
today.
play our shop.covinoandrich.com commercial?
Do I have it? Let me see.
Rocket Dog looks
Yeah.
great in the ad, in the new ad.
Rocket Dog in the ad. Perfect
Yeah.
model.
Ready? We'll be back after these
I have a theory
messages.
about Rocket Dog.
We'll be back after these words.
Oh, look at that.
CovinoandRich.com. Merch is available.
I love it.
Such a great bottle. Gabagool. Look at this. Drinkler. Spot's gym. Never been to a gym in his life. And we're back.
Perfect. That's great. Shop.covinoandrich.com.
And we're back.
By the way, people hang with Covino Rich because I feel like people want our take on these things, our more real, fun,
The hot take.
And I'm seeing a lot of people. I mean, I guess we went on for a little while, but people are like, move on. I mean, like, this is the hottest topic, not just in sports, in the world right now.
Yeah, it's not even about are we talking about the fucking game or about like, hey man,
Just it
big
just
story.
It doesn't
And we're
apply to
being
just
real
John
about it.
Gruden. It applies
This is the
to
hottest
you.
topic.
It applies to everyone you know, and the accountability that everyone. It's a good thing. People are accountable. I guess you could look at it that way. All right.
No, I have friends and people in my life that were like, yo, I like Gruden. That sucks.
My mom loves John Gruden. My
You
mom's
know,
a
like-
Raiders fan. My mom loved Chucky. I
That's
love
some
him.
pussy
It's like
shit.
my mom's favorite.
Like, you're gonna fire the guy? That's some pussy shit. And I'm like, yeah,
They are.
they have to. And they're not firing him. He's leaving because he knows he could never take that shit back now that it's out there. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no option. Look at the social climate we live in now.
Let's see. It's just that every cancel culture conversation is the same conversation. Is it?
He's not canceled. This is consequence.
Yeah, it's consequences. Thank you, Heart. I want to tell you about a couple of movies I watched, and then I have a question for you. But first, palate cleanser. Spot, there's a story about a kid who set an elevator on fire because he peed on the buttons. Can you please look this up? I sent you a link like a
Calvin?
No.
Or who is that? Who's the little kid that pees?
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes, right? Yeah,
but who's
Calvin.
the little kid that pees? That's not Calvin and Hobbes, is it?
I believe it is. The white trash thing to put on a car? The
Who's
peeing
that?
kid?
Who is that?
It's
Yeah, it's Calvin.
Is he peeing on
is it?
the elevator?
There's a
that kid?
story, and there's a little video. You don't see the kid's little dinky, thankfully. But it's a kid that's stuck in an elevator, and he pees on the buttons, and it causes a fire. It was in the New York Post. I don't like, really? It's in China, I believe. China.
China.
Yeah.
China.
Look at this story.
Look at this little shit.
Call him Whiz Kid.
China.
Get it? Kids in the elevator.
Music.
What a piece of shit.
What a little piece of shit in the elevator.
Gonna pee on the buttons.
He's trying to get out of the elevator. It won't open.
Fake,
I think he's
fake.
stuck in the
My shirt
elevator.
says fake. Ba, 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 da.
And then he starts peeing on that little box below the numbers.
What a little shit.
You mean the call box?
The little call, you probably start peeing on the call
no.
box, and then
Oh my god!
and then it
no,
starts.
that's like the control
then it
unit.
turns on. It fucking goes into a fire. And they have to save him. So many questions. Why is the kid on the
They
elevator?
arrested the little kid.
Why
Why
is
are
the
you
kid
peeing on the elevator?
Why is
you
the kid
little
on the
shit?
elevator by himself? Why is he
you-
stuck?
why-
Why did he pee? Why
Well,
did he
I
catch
think
on fire?
I think he got on the elevator. Here's how I think it unraveled. He got on the elevator. It's stuck. He couldn't get it open. Realized he had to pee, and then he just peed, and then the fire started. I think it was just like a series of unfortunate events.
Okay, well, any other funny videos you want to
Oh,
play?
here's someone saving him. Come out, little kid.
Fuck that kid.
Oh.
I think they should arrest this little.
Well,
So yeah, he can't
Fuck.
get out.
There's-
He's like,
I gotta pee.
I don't know what to do. I'll just pee.
and then I'm gonna write fart on the wall on my shit.
Any other funny videos? You sent us a bunch.
Oh, it looks like he lit a match and threw it
I
in
sent a
there.
bunch of videos.
There was a
too.
woman in Canada. Spot, find this, because I also sent this like a day or so ago, maybe yesterday. There was a woman in Canada. What's up, Canada? Happy day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
How was your
are they as bloated and like is it like Friday after Thanksgiving?
Donnie Pompidou's having leftover turkey and pumpkin
Oh,
pie.
Thanksgiving bombs. By the
Spot's,
way,
Thanksgiving bombs.
I hope Canada is taking part in Spot's Thanksgiving bombs.
Oh,
Where you take all the best leftovers, a little piece of each.
put them inside little muffins.
Inside,
biscuits.
no, inside
Did
a biscuit
did
dough.
you just speak Italian?
I did.
You threw
You-
Italian in there.
You put it in biscuit dough, you pinch it, you put it in a little muffin tin,
Just a little piece of each.
brush a little butter on top,
So good.
bake it according to the packet directions, and in 10 to 12 minutes, you have the most delicious little
It's
thing.
become
and
a
you dip it in hot
family-
gravy.
It's become a family tradition. Spot's Thanksgiving bombs is part
Turkey,
of
stuffing,
my family.
cranberry,
My in-laws, everyone now makes
Sweet potatoes.
Spot's Thanksgiving bombs.
Did you see
green
that
bean casserole.
video I sent you of Neil deGrasse Tyson? I don't think we need to play it, but it was interesting. He thought the one most historical event that ever happened
The Big
In our
Bang?
lifetime.
In our lifetime?
I think it was ever.
Oh.
But was Christopher Columbus finding the New World. Or
Probably.
landing on the
I
New
don't
World because it
disagree.
connected
I don't-
two
I don't disagree.
peoples that it unified us as humans.
Yeah, but why do you think that's crazy?
Because we
Christopher
don't even
Col-
celebrate him like
No, but-
at all.
but Christopher
nobody,
Columbus-
Nobody acknowledges, even though he was a piece of shit, how remarkable that is when you really take the time to think
Well,
about
they discovered a new world.
a new world
and-
combining people that haven't been together ever in 10,000 years.
That's the thing. It's like if you really
You want
look
to pull
at,
it up? I sent it to you.
I have it. But if you really look at what Columbus did, right? He didn't discover America.
No one's saying
Hold
that.
on.
No,
People
that's not
were
what Neil
here.
deGrasse Tyson said.
Hold on. People were here. Yeah, sure. He raped and pillaged. You say whatever you want. But he took in a time when people thought that the Earth was flat. And people,
Okay.
apparently today, it's too David Castillo. When people think the Earth is flat,
Dude, if I
he
think an ass is
said,
flat, I don't want to explore.
He said, I can leave this side of the country and sail over to India. He took a risk when no one knew the oceans. There were no maps, no cartographer. No one knew anything.
it's pretty wild.
It's insane. Even though he
It's
landed
insane.
in like the Caribbean.
Spotty walking.
I have it here.
Columbus.
Let's say he's the worst fucking guy that ever lived on the face of the earth.
Everyone's the worst guy ever, right?
No, it's
Who's
fine.
worse, Columbus or John Gruden?
No, and let's say we shouldn't celebrate him in this way.
There's no statue.
You should celebrate what his remarkable adventure
We have
was.
to acknowledge, as we just passed Columbus Day, what he did. Because I think people forget. We're
Uncharted
so focused on
territory.
canceling this guy. You forget the significance in what he did.
Yeah, he said this on what, Rogan?
Yeah. But it's pretty remarkable the way he presents it.
Him coming to America was the most significant thing to ever happen in our species.
Whoa.
We are hunter-gatherers. We haven't settled down yet, the early humans. And then the Ice Age hits. It is so cold that when the moisture evaporates from the oceans, goes to the clouds go over the land, it doesn't rain, it snows, and then it stays. So the water that had lifted up from the ocean does not return to the ocean. It accumulates on the land. Glaciers is not itself a snowfall. It is compressed snow that's basically changed state into this ice river that flows very slowly. But the oceans are getting drained faster than they're getting replenished. So during the Ice Age, the ocean levels drop, exposing the Bering Strait land bridge between Asia and what is now Alaska. Our ancestors who come out of Africa go into Europe. Some stayed, others kept wandering. Some stayed low above the Mediterranean, others went high. They populate Asia. They keep walking because there's a land bridge there, and they enter North America. And from there, that's kind of the only way you can go is south at that point. The weather gets a little better. The Ice Age ends. The glaciers melt back into the oceans. The ocean levels rise, closing the land bridge, stranding a branch of the human species for 10,000 years. Those humans who made it across that land bridge and spread out into North America, Central America, South America, have only a few families as their genetic origin. Then the land bridge breaks. Now you have Europe, Asia, Africa, and North and South America, and they know nothing of one another. Two separate branches of the human species. Had this continued, this is how you speciate. Now, Columbus crosses the Atlantic, makes contact with humans. This is the first time that has happened in 10,000 years. We have rejoined two branches of the human species. We are now one common genetic group. This was a hugely significant event.
It's amazing.
One common genetic group, thanks to what happened yesterday, but we're so focused on, like, he was a bad guy in 1492. Like, what he did, though, was pretty fucking insane. Like, when
would Neil deGrasse Tyson be as awesome? Would he be as awesome if his voice wasn't so perfect?
I think he's great.
I mean, he's the smartest guy ever, and his voice is amazing. But that was really crazy when you think about it. The world spot, think about what he said in 10 seconds.
We as a people
we forget that the ocean levels dropped to the point where people were walking from continent to continent, drifting. Then the water rose, and people were then stranded on those continents. Tens of thousands of years pass, and they don't realize people are on other continents until Christopher Columbus says, let me randomly sail through the water and then reconnected everybody.
Hence, who we are today, that's pretty fucking significant.
Columbus.
And we were like, no, we don't celebrate him.
Columbus.
Okay. We don't have to, but we could acknowledge what he did was remarkable.
Christopher Columbus, remarkable guy. When you think about what he did there.
That's pretty insane, no, Spotty? I thought so. I'm also so intrigued by anything Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
I also thought something was pretty interesting that I saw on TikTok, and sometimes mixed in with bouncing butt cheeks and funny prank videos. There are actually some educational and like fun facts that'll blow your mind, and that's what I enjoy on TikTok. Like fun facts that you don't even know happened.
I was up. I fell asleep and woke up. I was up till 2 a.m.
Eternal. Yeah, 3 a.m.
That's 3 a.m. Yeah. I was up till 2 a.m. watching TikTok videos, and I fell into
kept hearing your text
wormhole. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I saw one of those. There's a great guy on TikTok where he does time that'll make you things about time that'll blow your mind. Like, like I don't know, Picasso.
He has
Picasso.
He has a pompidou like this.
Yeah, he has a pompidou, and he's like,
I know that
time things that'll blow your mind. He's like, like Picasso died in the 70s, and you're like, yo, you think of the name Picasso?
I think pick your own asso.
Yeah, but he said one that was interesting. He goes, the time, let's say 1492, from 1492 until the United States formed, 1776, was 284 years.
I wonder what it was like in 1776.
1776?
1776.
So the fact that from the time people came here to the formation of the United States was more time. That was a bigger gap than 1776 until now. So other than Native Americans, once people came here, more time was between that and the development of the United States than 1776 and now.
Well,
so in like 40 years, it'll be equal.
That footprint they found just recently just proves that indigenous people were here way longer than anyone ever thought. So, oh look, Alex Efforts,
ancient footprints in New Mexico
have been dated to 23,000 years ago. So anyway, thank you guys for all your feedback.
Andrew brings
He
up
must have forgot his slides that day.
Andrew brings up a great point, and it's true for all the guys that are like, yeah, I don't go on TikTok. He goes, I finally got on TikTok, and it's a million times more engaging than Instagram. Instagram feels like a weird slideshow now. Where TikTok, you're watching funny videos.
My mind starts to really work when
Instagram is fun.
I'm watching some of these TikTok videos, and a few things happen. I got in a wormhole of people trying to antagonize law enforcement just for the soundbite, and I don't know how they do it. That's why I said props to all the guys out there trying to keep our community safe and everything, because fuck the scumbag people, of course. There's rotten, bad apples and everything, and I know there's a tolerance we shouldn't have for bad people and rotten apples and things like that. But there's so many people out there fucking with cops.
Oh, our buddy,
and I see videos of this. They blow my mind and aggravate me like you wouldn't believe, because they're just trying to antagonize law enforcement when people are just trying to do their jobs.
They're the worst type of people. People that antagonize the police.
I started watching those. It was the most. I wanted to pull my hair out. So I was watching one after the other. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Scumbag people of all kinds go rot somewhere, but I feel bad for that. I start watching
law
other
enforcement
people.
deals with
Oh my God.
so much stuff.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
they are so
the thick skin you have to
They're
have.
so underrated, underpaid for what they do. So law enforcement,
especially now, it's
my goodness,
wild.
God bless you. Our buddy Matt, who's visiting from New York, who's grabbing lunch now, but he was talking to us this morning. He crashed here last night. He was telling you that the few times where people have gotten in his face, he's like, yeah, you ignore it. I'm like, and Covino's like, you just stoically stand there while these people antagonize you and
I'm allowed to record. It's my right. It's my right. Yes, sir. This is the lobby.
Sir,
it's a
you can't-
government
it's,
building.
you can't
There's no
go in.
sign here. I'm gonna record you. What? Is there a problem? You're gonna.
What's your badge number?
Can I
What-
search
what's
you? What's your badge number? Can I search you, sir? Can I search you, sir? And these cops are like, I don't want to give it credit, but if you wanna see what I'm talking about and you want to pull your hair out, it's called Capital Audits. Capital CAPITOL. Capital Audits on TikTok. It is the most frustrating, infuriating thing you'd ever see. I was watching those. And then something else dawns on me, though, when I watch a lot of the general public and what they do. And there's just, to me, a lot of fucking weird people out there, bro. Like really, really weird people who I think have really like mental health issues going on that are making these videos. And it's weird because you get just this crazy weird insight on what people do. It's like, you spend your whole day doing this shit, you fucking weirdos. And yeah, we're just as weird to be watching it, but when you really watch it from that perspective,
like give me something people are doing, like
just anything. I saw a woman giving play-by-play, like anything, play-by-play on how someone was popping pimples. Like, this is what you do? You're a fucking weirdo.
maybe they're making money.
Or I get it. There's a market for these things, so people do it. But a lot of, or just like some dummy just making a weird makeup video or something, but there's no skill behind it. He's just being weird. Like, you're like, wow, these people are really fucking weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird, misguided, very bored people out there doing these things. And then you're watching it, so you know better.
Yeah, you might be worse.
You're like, yeah, this is fucking weird.
Well, I have two questions for you. Actually, one good one, and it comes off of what I watched yesterday. And then let's get a little more lighthearted and fun about this. I watched two horror movies yesterday, so maybe not so light. I watched Matt and I watched Spiral. It's a spinoff of the Saw movies. Same company. Lionsgate.
The Chris Rock one, right?
Yeah, the Chris Rock one. And not that it's distracting. It's not. I thought, I was like, is Chris Rock in a movie like that going to be distracting to me? I actually paused it at one point and I said, yo, Matt, Chris Rock. It's like, not great, not bad. Like, he's an actor. He's actually decent. At no point was I like, man, this is distracting because it's Chris Rock, right? So I watched Chris Rock in Spiral, which was, like I said, a spinoff of the Saw movie. Some gruesome deaths, some, it's like very...
Did you have nightmares?
No, you're in the mood because it's like Halloween season.
Right.
Right? And, it's like that time of the year. Watch Spiral. Thought it was decent. And then when the kids were in bed, Sarah, Matt, and myself said, hey, let's watch another movie. You want to watch a horror movie again? And it's less of a horror movie, more of like one of those end of the world type of things. I started watching it months ago, and I remember because when you like, I've seen this before, but then it hits the point in the movie, you're like, all right, I haven't seen this, which means you gave up on it.
Right.
It's called Awake, where some world event happens.
Oh, yeah.
Where no one could sleep.
It sounds like some woke shit.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
It's called Awake.
Oh. Where no one could sleep, right?
Yeah. That was me last night.
And the whole progression of, well, after one day, you start to get a little, after a couple days, you start not being able to like do things like, right, look at a number. All right, 50936. And you realize people like writing down the wrong number because you can't, you're just so out of it. And then after 4 or 5 days or 6 days, you would die without sleep. And there's only one kid in the movie that could sleep, so they're trying to figure out how could she sleep. And it's like twists and turns. I don't think it was
man.
I don't
You
think it
lost
was
me, bro. I'd rather watch weird people on TikTok.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Was it good? You're not selling me on it.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm not trying to sell you on it, but like that was awfully dismissive. Like I'm not like,
Joking, bro. What, did you fucking make this movie?
no, but I thought that's not an interesting concept. Because I guess that my follow-up question I shouldn't ask, and we should just talk about John Gruden again.
I wasn't dismissive on you. I'm saying it doesn't sound like a dope movie. And Lisa Paraggio, I'm watching these things, but on TikTok, you never know what's next. So you watch it, like, what the fucking weirdo? And you go to the next one. You don't know what's next. It's not like I sit there and then spend hours on this fucking person I think has issues. I'm like, what a weird person.
So the concept is, what would happen to society if something happened? Solar flare, weird occurrence, something where, yeah, it did sound pretty dismissive. I agree, Alejandro. You're like, yeah, it sounds pretty lame.
I was basing it off he didn't seem like he liked it that much.
I'm not necessarily, I'm not here to sell it to you. I didn't say,
Oh, it sounds like a boring movie.
well,
But that wasn't any criticism towards Rich. Stop being sensitive little baby bitches. That wasn't criticism on Rich. That's a criticism on the movie.
But you
Did
never
he
seen
direct it? I'm going based on the way you were talking about the movie. Sounded to me like you didn't like it that much. Sounded to me you thought the Chris Rock one was pretty good. And the way you described this one, you didn't like it that much.
It was all right. It was all right. I
Yeah,
didn't say
so
it was
that-
great, but it wasn't
So
bad.
I can't say, it sounds like a shitty
It
movie.
wasn't bad. But, and by the way, they were both like, they're both like trending movies, and they both got a lot of love on Netflix and their providers. I just look at it as a movie like that does get you thinking.
Okay. Now we're
I start looking up, what's the right amount of sleep an adult should get?
They always say 8 hours, but it's not. It's like 6.
Let's see, expert spot.
It's 6.
Hold
to
on,
8.
Professor
I looked-
Spot.
Sleep expert.
I
Professor
saw
Spot.
no, because I actually read an article.
No, I
recently.
feel like there's a new character.
You need
Professor Spot.
like kids need like 8 to 12 hours.
That's a fucking 4-hour difference.
No, Spot's like, wow.
But that's like you're giving a
I'm sorry, 10 to
25%
12
window.
hours.
No, kids need not. I saw something that said
No.
kids need 9
I
to
read
9
an article
to,
in
Right.
like a legit source. I don't know where you saw yours.
This
Adults
guy-
need
he has
6 to 8.
He has Bing. What's it? Jeeves. He has Jeeves.
6 to 8 hours.
Let me ask. Is Ask Jeeves still a website?
6 to 8 hours.
I don't know.
It's not true. 6 hours, they say, is not enough. And
I feel better when I get like 6 hours though.
I do.
The longer I sleep, that's the more groggy you feel sometimes. But I'm sure it depends on lots of factors. But don't they? 6 to 8 isn't that the standard answer?
The standard answer is you should get, they're saying that high school kids, when you're developmental and you're going through growth and changes and you're developing, they're saying those kids should get 9.5 to 11 hours sleep.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, if a kid wakes up at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning for school, it's probably 7 in the morning, right, for school. That means all these kids should be going to bed at 9 o'clock.
I know Melody didn't get that last night. Let's see, 13. Oh, no, 6 to 12, 9. I can tell you Melody definitely didn't. She called me up in the middle of the night because there was a cricket in her room and she didn't know what to do. I'm like, try to cat. What do you want me to do?
You know what?
Spot. Is it a road?
Spot, take a timeout from this. But that's a good screenshot because those are accurate numbers from the different articles I read as well. But look up the lifespan of a cricket because I thought I had a cricket. I had a cricket in my kitchen somewhere, and it wasn't bothering Sarah, but it was infuriating me.
90
It was gone the next day, so I was like,
hard to catch.
maybe it died. No, I fucking swat him
90
everywhere.
days.
I feel like maybe tell me if it's bad luck because I'll stop doing it.
It's
but
bad luck. You shouldn't kill a cricket in your house.
There's hundreds of crickets around I go outside. No joke. I'm not even joking. When I open the back door to let Piper out to go to the bathroom at night, when I let the dog out,
some hop in.
No, I have to open and shut the door real quick because by my pool, it's like I see them hopping everywhere.
I'm like, Melody, I can't help you.
Bug superstition suggests that it is very bad luck to kill a cricket, even in an accident.
Well, I'm glad she didn't.
All right, well then I'll stop killing them.
Anyway,
I go in the backyard and I'm like,
insects known to bring good luck.
She didn't sleep.
Well, then you know what? Then I'm gonna stop killing them and I'm gonna have the best luck ever because
Well,
there's
then my
500 crickets around.
my grandmother's
Crickets said
house-
to announce death.
So wait, crickets are now it's good luck or bad luck?
No, it's good luck.
So you said, but crickets are announced death.
Only if it chirps in your house. I don't
Well,
know.
I'm telling you right now,
I don't know.
crickets
Great.
are everywhere around here. I take the dog for a walk in this neighborhood in the suburbs here in the valley. I don't know if it's the weather conditions or where I live, because everywhere I've ever lived before.
Melody lives in your hometown.
I used to chase crickets off my balcony. I still do.
But
because they're so loud when I'm trying to watch TV in the summer.
I don't know if it's more out here because on the East Coast, I'm telling you right now, I'd hear them, but I don't think I've ever.
This is the first time you live in like a very suburban area.
I lived in a suburban area growing up.
This is very suburban.
But my area,
at
where
night,
I grew up in Long Island,
it is very quiet out here at night.
where I grew up was no less or more suburban than here. Very similar to hometown.
Probably you weren't paying attention to crickets when you were a kid.
Yeah, but I don't remember crickets ever jumping around outside. I remember cicadas.
The crickets were annoyed by you.
But
Here you go. You won't shut up.
in fact, I'm telling you, I bet you.
Rich is coming. Rich is coming.
All right, well, I bet you. Hey, Mr. Cricket.
That's Rich.
So yeah, well, Melody lives in the same town. There was crickets in her room. She's bothering me. I'm like, you got to go to bed. She's like, I can't. It's a bug.
I bet you if you did the investigation, if you looked it up online, Spot, he just comes and goes as he wants.
You mean Professor Spot? He's poignant. He's like poignant Spot now.
I don't know what he does.
Poignant, pungent Spot.
So I bet you there's more crickets. I bet you if you looked it up, it's like, oh yeah, West Coast, Southern California cricket issue. Never fucking seen this in my life where everywhere you open the door. Like I open my front door to take out the trash. I can't leave the door open for, no joke, 30 seconds because a cricket will jump in the house. And then I got to fucking try to find it, kill it. Sarah tries to catch him with a cup and let him loose.
I'm
I'm like,
get a
look at
glimpse
you.
of Sarah's arse. Maybe the word's out. Not to see you.
Crickets.
So anyway, back to the sleep. I'm just letting you know that I could tell you my kid didn't get that sleep last night. So the amount of sleep you get.
There was a little visual that Spot had up on the screen, but he took down. And it said something to the effect of kids needing around 12 hours of sleep. Not quite sure. Spot, can you put up that graphic, please? I can't imagine. Do you know any kid that gets 12 hours sleep?
Yeah, my kid used to, for sure. And I used to like question that. Like, why? Are you just trying to get her to bed early? Like, I think that's too much sleep.
Like to me, when I was a kid growing up, primetime TV shows were on at 8 o'clock. And I felt like they were designed that kids go to sleep at like 9 to 10 o'clock. Growing Pains, Alf, American Idol, every generation, all the main primetime shows were 8 p.m. for a reason, right? Because that was what are primetime shows designed for? Families to watch before bed, correct? Late night TV started at 11:30, because what happened? That's when the kids are sleeping and the adults are winding down. So I always assumed that just statistically, most children went to sleep probably around 9 to 10, 9-ish.
Children, not
Yeah.
infants and
Teenagers went to
toddlers.
sleep. Yeah. I always assumed that adults went to sleep right around before or after late night TV, because that's the design. And kids went to sleep after primetime television.
And then crickets
12
come and
hours
wake
would
'em up.
12 hours would insinuate your kid goes to sleep at 7:30 and wakes up at 7:30. That's a lot of sleep, bro.
It is.
How often do you sleep?
Me?
What's a good night for
It
you?
was like I slept 5 hours last night, for sure. So it varies. I aim for 8. 6 is great. I got 5 last night. So it's different.
Then you start looking at studies and it's like too much sleep is bad for your health. And then other studies like not enough sleep is bad for your health. So now the last night I was laying in bed, I'm like, man, I got to get just the right amount of sleep.
Well, I would say, yeah, the general consensus is to get a good night's.
What time do you set your alarm for?
7:20, 7:15,
Really?
7:20.
I set my alarm for 6:15, which means I should go to sleep by 10:30, 11 o'clock, which is not happening.
Well, you shower and get up and
I shower and I check the stuff. I want to be
shower
up for
at
the
night.
start of the market.
Yeah.
How do you, if you miss the beginning of the market, you can miss something.
Well, I'm not a day trader.
Neither am I, but what if one of your stocks pops in the morning?
I don't live that game, so I don't have to.
9:30
But
to 10.
it makes sense to me as to why you do it, though.
Yeah. Capture the cricket alive and use it for fish bait. I think that's even worse luck, Steve. Oh, technically the fish kills the cricket and there's no bad luck for you. I get it. I get 6 hours on weeknights, 10 on the weekend. And I think doesn't that discount also anyone that has any young kid?
That's Alejandro Michael. That's sort of my system. I look forward to the weekends just to sleep in a little bit, to catch up on some of that shit. I feel like that's your body's way of saying, nah, I need a little more during the week, so I'm cashing in right now.
Joe Rogan had a sleep expert on and said 6 to 8, kids maybe a little more, 6 to 8 hours.
Spot, book a sleep expert. Thanks.
I go to bed at 10, wake up at 5. Well, there's your 7 hours, Lynn. Lynn, you might have the solution. My wife goes to sleep early, but then she wakes up way early with Ben. I don't know, just a thought. As we get older and you worry about your health, there's a lot of studies and a lot of science apparently that goes into your health, like they're saying things like high blood pressure, diabetes, all these things are linked to sleep as well.
I mean, anxiety.
Yeah. And they're saying naps.
The right sleep number.
I also looked up, do you add naps into your daily sleep? Like if you took an hour nap, do you say is that part of your sleep? No, naps are not. Sleep is important for recovery. When you're working out, you've heard trainers say sleep is part of that equation.
Sleep's
like
also very
diet,
important
workout,
for,
sleep.
for pimples to form. Because you wake up, you're like, geez, that happened?
Like that, I didn't have a blemish when I fell asleep.
That happened from when I went to bed and I woke up. And it was a nice little whitehead for my morning routine. It's great for that.
The movie Awake just got me thinking. I don't know if I recommend it. I do recommend the other one. If you like gory, stupid movies like the Saw movies, which I did. Some people think they're garbage. I like them. I love those creative, weird, gory death movies. I thought it was good. Squid Game, #1 show in America for a reason. People like that shit. So Chris Rock, it's 90 minutes, so it's really it's the equivalent of like 2 episodes of a show. So I think he could handle it.
Chris Rock. Love Chris Rock.
Greg Kelly saying...
The comedian, not the actor.
Greg Kelly said, I never understood as a kid how older people could sleep in a recliner. Now I'm 38 and I get it.
Nothing better sometimes than when you just knock out. Feels great. So,
you ever feel like sometimes when you
remember
fall
when you
asleep on
fall
the couch and then you go to bed, you fucking lose your rhythm? Like you were all comfy and cozy on the couch. You're like, all right, I'll just go in bed. And then when you go in bed, you're like, now I'm fucking awake.
Yeah.
And you're like, I should have fucking stayed on the couch.
No, I mean, you could even say when you're watching a show and you're fucking trailing off and you realize you're fucking falling asleep, but then you got to shut the TV off. Once you do that whole routine, you're like, now I'm up.
I'm awake.
You're like, fuck.
Maybe I'll put that back on now.
Yeah. Fuck. Let me put some boring shit back on. But remember, if you're getting sleepy, no yawning in October because a ghost sticks his dick in your mouth.
That happens.
All right.
Fact.
So What time is it? We got to get to the rando news, but there's not a lot. Jake Paul is in the news, calling out Tommy Fury.
Is Tommy Fury legit?
Tyson Fury's
If it
$22-year-old.
wasn't Tyson Fury's brother, would we even consider this guy like a legitimate contender, or is he getting by on name?
He's a young boxer. He's 22. He's a boxer.
But the fact that he's Tyson Fury's brother is the only reason.
Tyson Fury has said, if my brother loses to a guy like Jake Paul, he's not a Fury. He'd have to change his name.
Okay, now you're adding some excitement to it.
Right. So Tyson Fury is saying like he would never lose to a guy like Jake Paul. He's grown up boxing. He's a Fury. Furies don't lose to guys like that. He couldn't be a Fury.
There's only one.
Yeah. Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury.
22-year-old like reality star / boxer overseas. Good looking guy. He's his half brother. So I guess based on that soundbite that Tyson Fury threw out there, Jake Paul then says, all right, Tommy, here's the deal. I'm going to add $500,000 more to the $1 million or whatever that I was willing to fight you for. But if you lose, you got to change your name to Tommy Fumbles for at least 1 year. Tommy Fumbles. So that's
I like it.
It's kind of funny.
That's great. There's only one.
You want to find
Tommy Fumbles.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Spot, if you want to, I didn't plan on really pulling up the soundbite. I was going to move past it, but Rich is taking the bait. So
Jake Paul. Are you sick of the Pauls yet? Because I think Raul, someone hit us up saying, I'm sick of the Pauls. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Raptor in New Mexico. I could see that. I feel like I need a timeout from the Paul brothers. I don't hate them. I'm not a hater of them. I think they're interesting, intriguing young dudes that at least bring excitement. But if you told me there was not going to be a Paul fight for 6 months, I'd be totally fine with that. I'm a little
cool.
OD'd on the
But
Pauls
it's funny.
right now.
It's just a funny story. The question is, should Tommy take the bait?
Well, what's his name? How to get the Jake Paul tattoo?
Yeah,
he got it on his finger.
Woodley got
Tyron Woodley got a Jake Paul tattoo.
I just think the antics here are funny, whether you like him or not. He's like, yeah, I'll give you $500,000 more, but if you lose, he's Tommy Fumbles. That's just funny.
Tommy Fumbles is funny.
That's funny. So,
and you know Jake Paul's going to make Tommy Fumble t-shirts.
Yeah, that's
everything. Yeah, it's going to be good.
It's stupid, but that's funny shit right there, in my opinion. So, and Tyson Fury talking about it, like, these are great characters, man. And there's only one Tyson Fury, but Tommy Fury, we'll see what happens. And the other story that's big in the news is that, here, you got it, Spotty? Let's hear it.
Official response to Tyson Fury. He just said that if his little brother Timmy Fury loses to me, that he will make him quit boxing and he's going to have to change his last name. He will no longer allowed to be a Fury.
His name's Fury. If he can't beat Jake Paul, I'll have to change his name. How about that?
So you know me, I'm a betting man. I like to make bets. So I'm putting my money up right now. Tommy, if you beat me, I will give you an extra $500,000. However, if you lose, you have to change your last name for 1 year to Tommy Fumbles. Deal or no deal?
I like it.
I'm putting the money up. Are you confident? Official response to Tyson.
Though, man. Like, how does he turn that down? That's. I get it. He has the Fury name, this kid Tommy, but that's big money for a 22-year-old kid.
That's big money for anybody.
And these Paul brothers, they could garner that type of flow, man. So,
and just because Tyson Fury has a ton of money doesn't mean he's giving it to Tommy Fury. So when someone's like, well, his brother just made $50 million. No, that doesn't mean that Tommy Fury's getting anything. Tommy Fury's got to be his own, man.
Think about it. Tyson Fury's real brother, like his full brother, was there in the corner looking like a schlub. You think he gets
a big
cut of that? Probably
not.
We
talk about that when we talk about winning the lottery. Covino and Spot talk about they don't want to give anyone anything. You think because Tyson Fury makes all this money boxing, you think everyone in the family's getting it? Get the fuck out of here.
Can I just say this? When you see these Tyson Fury sound bites, man, he's such a motivational sort of inspiration. He's really great. Whether you think he's of good character, because I know he had his mistakes in the past and he said some off-color things, his sound bites are incredible.
Oh, so, he's a really interesting man.
Yeah. Props to Tyson Fury. He's the real deal. The other big story yesterday that sort of caught fire after we got off the air was the fact that DC Comics announced that Clark Kent's son, John Kent,
is a backwards mechanic. No.
Superman's son, John Kent, is coming out as bisexual, but John Kent is the new Superman. So the story or the headline is Superman is bisexual. It's Superman's son, the new Superman, John Kent, who is now bisexual. The younger Kent will kiss friend and hacktivist Jay Nakamura in the number 5 issue on November 9th in DC's Superman, Son of Kal-El. The 17-year-old fictional Kent currently holds the title of Superman, inherited from his father. So today's Superman
die.
is now bisexual, but there's also some,
according to Our Lady Peace,
some homosexual people that are like, yeah, but it seems a little forced. And why do you got to make him like the gay dude is like stereotypically like sort of, he's got like pink hair and stuff like that. And so there's some like controversy there or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see the controversy. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a grown man. I don't read comic books. And I don't care at all.
So who reads comic books?
Nerds.
And?
Nerdier nerds.
Okay. You just said you're a grown man.
Maybe kids.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm just saying, like any grown man that's like, Superman. I'm like, so what? Do you fucking read comic books?
I mean, is anything surprising?
Do you collect? Do you still collect baseball cards? Like, to me,
my friends do.
To me, it's a weird thing to have a gripe over. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not a superhero guy, but to me, you know, I don't give a fuck or waggle.
Is the Japanese guy he kisses a Japanese cholo?
Yes.
No, not by the looks. Not by the look at the photos. The viral image was him kissing the guy yesterday in the new DC release. Oh, and there's a
release too.
There's a
Is that episode 6?
Faster than a speeding bullet. So anyway, that's the other big story in the news.
Superman ever fucked in the sky?
What?
Do you think he ever like fucked while flying? Superman.
He's like, don't worry, I got you. And he's like, you got me. Who's got you?
Yeah.
Superman.
Yes.
So,
hey, Superman's son likes dudes.
Some people are saying that's just a lazy plot line.
Yeah, I would argue that more than anyone having a problem.
I know you don't want to. If you want to pull her up, go ahead.
Well,
remember that Arbor girl? What's her name?
Yeah. I hate her.
Yeah. What's her name? She looks so weird now.
She panders too. She panders. She panders more than
I saw her saying some off-color things about
She
that.
panders more than a panda. I don't know if that's
she's more of a panderer than Tommy Lahren.
It was the first time I saw her in like fucking 5 years.
She wants to be Tommy Lahren.
She does.
What happened to Tommy? What happened to that girl? I haven't seen her either.
I just wonder, like, why is it news? That's what I wonder. Why is it news?
How is it not news?
But why is it
Because
news?
he's the new Superman, right? And Superman's bisexual.
Because people want it to be news. Because people want to get people's emotions on something
but
that they really don't
news,
care.
Though? How is that not news?
I guess it is news, but again, I don't care about Superman, so it's not news to me. It's news to comic book people, so we should get their opinion.
Is there going to come a point where we start announcing if people are like straight again? Like, what's the news?
Comics have always reflected current climate. A kid reading is going to relate, and that's the target audience. That's Juan.
News.
There's going to be triggered people in the comic community.
I'm more excited about the new Home Alone trailer.
Alex is saying Alex is just saying we're in the pendulum swing. Everything's going to be gay or bi for the next couple of years until that's viewed as mainstream, and then we move on to whatever the next thing is. So
the pendulum swing makes, and you see it. It's like being different. Let's say being different is where being different made you the outcast. Being different today makes you popular. And
I always think
it's swinging that way, but then eventually, I agree with what you said. It'll come back to the middle somewhere, and that's a good place to be.
I always said I felt bad for older gay people because they went through their whole life. There must be like I think I've said this before on the show, but there must be an equal feeling of resentment and happiness. Let's say you're an 80-year-old guy.
I think it's more happy than resent.
If you went through your whole life as a gay man, had to hide it, you were ridiculed, you were mocked, you were potentially people would beat up gay people. Like if you grew up your whole life and had to hide the true you, and now you're a fucking old guy, 80, 90 years old, and you see the younger generation in the world accepting, embracing you, but you went through your whole life of pain, you wouldn't be equally happy yet resentful?
That goes across the board too, right? With women who had no rights and shit like that.
Well, look, and you can say that about African Americans, women, anyone, any group that at some point was marginalized. Right. Exactly. But I'm saying if you're a gay guy, Imagine you're a gay guy that loves comic books and you're 90. You're like, God damn it now. Like, really? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's got to be a weird feeling, right?
Yeah, but it's still, if you're around to see it, I guess, hey, finally sort of feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
better than not seeing progress, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
you said something else.
Were you surprised? They're all a bunch of dudes wearing spandex.
It's true.
It was bound to happen.
It's true.
I think we have to
I feel sorry
acknowledge.
for that.
I think we have to
Japanese
acknowledge,
dude's
though,
butt.
in order to make change, you really have to force things.
And go over.
And to not acknowledge that things are forced is like, are you blind? But
it's the only way to make it
happen.
happen.
It's the only way to eventually keep it in the middle.
And the funny part is that it all
But
goes
don't
back. It
pretend
all
like
goes
you
back.
don't
It all
notice.
goes back to a theory popularized by a guy that a lot of those people hate, Donald Trump. The art of the deal. The art of the deal is ask for the moon and settle for what you really want.
So yeah.
So Donald
social
Trump's
issues
whole-
shoot for the moon.
Yeah.
And
then
then but people pretend to not notice that. But in order to get somewhere in the middle, that's where you have to be. I
But
guess,
I'm
at
saying
one
like
point.
what society reaches for it really is like, I'm not saying Donald Trump invented it, but that's in the art of the deal. It's
Same theory, yeah.
the art of the deal. Hey, what do you really want? Oh, you really want your boss to give you a $20,000 raise? Ask for a $50,000 raise. He'll say, oh, $10,000 raise. All right, we'll meet at 20. What you really wanted in the first place.
Right.
Art of the deal. So with social issues, with life and everything, think about when
So did gay people really want Superman to be gay? No, but they shot for it and got it.
No, they got
Right.
bisexual.
But
And now
really, they just wanted something in the middle.
we
like-
want Superman to be gay. All right, well,
like-
let's settle for bisexual. Deal.
That's so he's just gonna be fucking everyone.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
yeah.
banging. He's gonna be everyone. That's
Yeah.
bisexual people are so selfish.
I just pictured a
Can't
90-year-old
have
gay
everything.
I just pictured a 90-year-old gay dude throwing a comic book. God damn it, no! Thank you, Gabby.
That's funny.
Let's see.
But it is a big story on social media, I guess, right? Like you saw it midday yesterday. If you live that life, you're taking a shit and you're looking through things like, oh,
we should get John Gruden's thoughts on this.
What's
Thank you, Stefan.
what is your it's what's his cisgender, what is that?
Sistine Chapel spot.
Sistine Chapel.
What are you asking me?
What is he identifies? So he's bisexual, but he's bisexual identifying as a man. Is it still Superman? Is it super person?
His name is Superman, so I guess he identifies as a man.
That's just in the name.
I have a question that's, I'm not even trying to be facetious.
If you're asking me, I probably won't know the answer.
No, you will.
Go ahead.
Will there come a point in the next year or so where everyone's email signature does include the pronouns? I'm starting to see that on more business emails.
I
where
told you this yesterday.
I know, but what I'm saying
my
is,
daughter's teachers, like, welcome to Mr. Johnson's class. And then it says Mr. Johnson, right? And here's
He,
the
him.
curriculum.
He, him.
Here's the curriculum. This semester we're gonna learn about this. And under Mr. Johnson it says, room 207, he, him, his. It's just how it is.
But I'm saying is that,
and especially we're in a liberal state. So is it going to continue? Yeah. I think so.
that's actually a very funny question. Does
What?
the new Superman have gaydar?
That's funny. Who said that?
It's a funny comment.
Well, bam.
Green Lantern was gay in 2012. Why is this news? DC. I think I said something. I read something about that as well. Like Marvel had done that.
Oh, but Rich, when
Yeah.
we talk about the pronoun thing, we're in LA. So when we talk about that, we get a lot of friends from Tennessee or Kentucky that hit us up and they're like, "Yo, I got kids the same age and they have no idea what you're talking about." I mentioned Jordan's brother in Idaho, no idea, but it will eventually get
Idaho's
there.
just learning about spray tans.
Yeah,
now.
but still, it'll eventually get there.
They'll get there in 20 years. We learned about spray tans 20 years ago.
Especially when there's national stories like this, 100%. And it just is what it is. I'm just giving you what I see. As a dad, I'm like,
how you seize it.
Okay, because that's not how we saw it growing up. I never had a teacher share his pronouns with me, ever.
Well, hey, it's.
No, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it is.
90% of your company has it in their signature. Yeah, listen, I'm just wondering, does there come a point where you put your pronouns in your signature just to provide the sensitive nature of...
I don't think so. Well, here's how I feel. I'm OS for life, right?
I don't even have a signature, by the way. So
I don't think it defines me by it in any way. Just, hey, I'm Steve Covino. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. The pronouns also help people that have names that are not easy to understand. Like Casey, is that a man or a woman?
That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah. Hey, I think if you opt against it, that's your choice. I don't, like I said, I don't even have an email signature, but that is interesting. I have dealt with people. You ever know the funniest story about Sarah with a her known name?
Huh?
Did I ever tell you about my Indian wife? Sarash Hoots?
I'm sorry, what?
What happened?
You don't know this?
No.
It's a great story.
Is it like my African-American mom? Tanisha Covino?
Tanisha Covino. Similar. So this goes back to our Jersey City days. And when I lived in Jersey City, right on the the waterfront, what did you call that place again? Dope View. When Sarah and I first moved in together, we lived right there on the border of Jersey City, Hoboken, on the Hudson River. Fucking sweet apartment. Might be
boats sailing by,
dude. Other than our home we just bought, that was by far our favorite place.
The view of the city skyline.
It was honestly, it was magical. It was nice. Sarah and I loved living there. We have so many great memories of that apartment. Now, when you and I got the SNY gig in 2013, you and I were working at SiriusXM. I was doing the morning mashup, Covino and Rich, and then SNY. I was in the city from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, busting my ass all day, recording shit, everything. I did not want to commute at all. I don't know how on earth you went back to Union every day. So I said, we got to move to Manhattan.
I went back to Union every day, but I went back to California every weekend.
So Sarah and I, if you remember, we moved to, as you called it, the Ivory Tower. We moved to Manhattan. We were trying to get out of our Jersey City lease. That place was expensive. I remember it was like $3 or $4 grand a month back then. So we wanted to get out of this lease. We didn't want to double pay rent, right?
That SNY money.
So we were trying to find someone that would take over our lease early, which was possible because it was a hot area. People wanted to live there. We had a corner unit, easy to get. Rented out.
I thought it was the corny unit.
It was the corny and corner unit.
Oh.
So long story short.
Too late.
I put Sarah on the case. I said, babe, please try to just figure out if someone in this area wants to take over our unit,
swap a lease
or do something, because we had a sought after unit. It was a 2-bedroom corner unit, so we could tell that someone would want it. Sarah's old email, one of her middle names is Ashley. So she had an email, Sarah Ash at Gmail or something. So she put on the message boards in that Jersey City area. And Jersey City, known for what community spot?
The Indian community.
Everyone in Jersey City. Predominantly Indian. We got people all hitting up Sarah, being like, oh, Sarash. We leased out our apartment and got out of it. But when the person came to sign the thing, they thought they were dealing with someone named Sarash. Everyone responded like, hey, Sarash, because instead of Sarah Ash, they thought they were dealing with Sarash.
That's
so the whole time it was like, she's like, babe, I think they think I'm Indian too. I'm like, roll with it. You're part of their community now.
That's probably why you got it done so quickly.
Sarash.
It's like our Nick Black story, kind of.
You guys want Nick Black? Of course we want Nickelback. The day comes, all of a sudden, Nick Black is on our show.
We thought the email said Nickelback.
The way it played out
Where's
was
Chad Kruger?
Covino was really excited about having Nick Black or Nickelback on the show, and he's like, Spot, set this up. And I look at the email from the person, and I'm like, did you read this email? It says Nick Black. Not Nickelback.
Chad Kruger.
I don't even know who Nick Black is.
If you want to go,
he was like the inventor of like a sex toy or something.
If you want to go story for story with misunderstandings, our favorite one was the fucking hot model girl that for a 20-minute period talked about how she worked with Nas, and we all thought for 20 minutes she was talking about Nas, the legendary rapper, and she was talking about Nas energy drink.
Meanwhile, she had a whole Nas like race car getup on,
and we were like, oh, that's great. Yeah, so I was working with Nas. Oh, that's pretty fucking legendary. I work with Nas. And
we didn't know what that was at the time.
Yeah, she's like, oh, and then she's like, oh, Nas energy drink.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic. I'm sure you guys heard that a million
times.
Yeah, they're
misunderstandings.
So, hey, I have a question for you. Moving on. That's the rando news of the day. Superman Yeah. Superman's by. Yeah. So Superman's by.
Superman's by. One last misunderstanding. My dad, when
You should do a no, I'm good.
That's good. He's good. Dipping out. Nope.
No, I'm good at that.
When my dad
post it all over social. That'd be huge.
When my dad retired,
It's a big
yeah, if
story.
you're sensitive about it.
Anybody ever know?
You should like celebrate it.
Doesn't anybody ever know?
I don't think you're mocking it.
No,
You're
you know
celebrating
why?
it.
Because what'll happen is Covino will make Superman's by. It'll be a huge hit, and they'll be like, "What else has Covino sung?" And then it'll dig up like, "What? Peach lips of an angel? Look at that
Cakes.
bitch! Look at that bitch's ass!"
Jazz Cafe.
So
I want to stick it in your caboose.
And
that's on brand.
who are these
Fury might happen.
Wait, hold on. My one
Some
last
great games
misunderstanding.
yesterday. Yeah, one last misunderstanding.
When my dad retired, we've mentioned this
I
before.
love this one.
My dad is so invested in our show, which I love. This is why my dad and I are closer than ever. He loves our show, loves our Fox show. Watch, everywhere we go. My dad's very supportive.
Oh, Richie.
I gotta be honest.
My dad.
Bobo. He chimes in a lot on your Fox Sports Radio show.
My dad likes him.
Yeah, Bobo's fun. Bobo's our new board operator.
My dad he wrote a letter to his company when he retired. Like, thanks for the 30 years or 40 years, whatever he worked for the city of New York. I worked for the city 40 years. Thanks to, give a little farewell email that people write at the work. And he ended it with, and it's been a great 40 years. Arrivederci, baby. See you in the promised land. Greg.
I love that.
And by writing, Greg. And by writing,
Greg.
See you in the promised land, my dad got a barrage of emails from very religious coworkers like, yes, Greg, we will see you in the promised land.
Greg, I didn't know.
Jesus Christ, we will meet again. And my dad got all these. My dad got hit up by all the religious people saying like, the promised land. Greg, if you want further reading about the promised land, like my dad's like, it's just a phrase my son uses.
It's Pee Wee Herman.
May the pearly
big
gates
adventure.
greet you with open arms.
Oh, Greg, I didn't know you were so religious.
Oh, we have a prayer group every Wednesday.
We're going to include you in our prayers.
May the path of our Lord Jesus Christ
Yes,
guide
Greg, we will see you in the promised land. That's beautiful. Oh, yeah, yes. Thank you. You too. And peace be with you as well.
Here's a scripture.
I've taken it upon myself to send you some readings, Greg. Right?
That's just funny.
Oh,
I love those Three's Company moments. Three's Company moments.
Read this passage from
misunderstandings.
Corinthians.
Oh, Greg, I had no. We've worked together all these years, and I had no clue of your spiritual, vibe. I was thinking about that yesterday. How did your outro begin? Can I talk to you about Jesus, Greg?
I'm good. I gotta go. Retirement time.
Yeah, right.
Starts right now.
Time to go smoke in the gazebo.
See you later.
See you
Alligator.
See you
Then he
in the
walks away.
promised.
I should have wrote that.
See you later, Hell's Gators.
See you later, Hell's Gator.
That would have been more.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. All right. So misunderstandings are great. Rando news of the day.
Oh, rando news.
I have an etiquette question.
But I said something before we never got to. Remember, I said Canada Thanksgiving.
What about it?
There was a woman in Canada. Talk about luck. You ever think to yourself that
What a wonderful world. I do.
when planes crash, those like in neighborhoods, like once
There
every
was just one yesterday in San Diego.
but I'm saying like once every decade, luckily, knock on wood, once every decade, something will happen where like a wing of a plane goes through someone's roof. And you're like, how unlucky would one have to be?
About Richie Valence's little friend.
The
in
dream,
playground.
right? Yeah. Well, it wasn't his dream, or did that happen? I forget.
No, he was playing in the playground.
Playing basketball.
If a plane breaks and crashes and a piece of the debris goes through the roof of your house, that's the bad luck equivalent of winning like the Powerball twice.
Debris. Did
Like-
you go to high school with him?
Oh, there was a black girl in my high school. Debris. Yeah.
Don't you think that the bad luck involved with that is astronomical? Like that, I said, that's the equivalent luck of winning the Powerball twice. That's how bad your luck has to be equivalent to good luck. Like a plane crashes and then something goes through my house. Probably happens to someone once every decade. Someone wins a Powerball every week. That's such bad luck. There's a woman in Canada who is perfectly fine. A fucking meteor went through her roof and landed on her bed and did not hurt her. Please look this story up.
That's not the only thing in her bed that was meteor.
Imagine that. Imagine Covino.
Meteor Man, Robert Townsend?
Yeah. Imagine you're laying in bed on your sleep number, watching TikTok videos, and something crashes through your roof and lands on your bed.
Oh, no, eh?
Look at this. Sleeping Canadian woman has a close call with a meteor that lands on her bed.
Oh, my.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, meteor. Oh, it's my apologies.
What's this about? Oh, no.
What's meteor? The meteor or her fat ass?
Shut up.
Dude, look at that.
Oh, my God.
On her bed.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean,
Ruth Hamilton was snoozing in her home in Golden, a town in southeastern British Columbia, on October 4th when she heard a crash and felt debris on her face. I just jumped up and turned on the light.
no, you have to sound like her, Spot.
I just jumped up and turned on the I just jumped up and turned on the light, eh? I couldn't figure out what the heck was happened.
Eh?
A police officer, we called the Canyon Project to see if we were doing any blasting, and they weren't, eh?
It's not a fake story, David. It's in the New York Post.
But they didn't say...
It's like a real story.
They did say they'd seen a bright light in the sky, eh? And that exploded and caused some booms.
A piece of meteor went through her house and landed on her bed.
I was shaking and scared when it happened, eh? I thought someone had jumped in or with a gun or something, eh? It's almost a relief when we realized it couldn't have fallen out of the sky, eh?
I think we're done with her.
Okay.
There was a few stories a few months ago. It was
It's
like
wild, though,
someone
right?
I think it was like a guy, like someone crashed into somebody's kitchen. Was he parachuting or something like that? Or the plane crashed into something?
that
You hear,
happened.
like Rich said, it's like every once in a while you hear these stories and you're like, oh, fuck.
The luck involved. Because luck isn't necessarily good when someone's like
Because
their luck.
in San
Like
Diego.
luck would insinuate like the chance of something happening is so minute. Like I remember when we were growing up, you hear about this is more likely, but someone drove through my grandparents' neighbor's like front window, like their car, like a drunk driver or something, like drove, all of a sudden they're sleeping in the middle of the night and they look in their living room and there's a car sticking into their wall.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Like that happens more often, but
That happens a lot in our area.
A meteor?
I feel like I get a citizen alert at least once a week of someone who drove through a house.
There's a new delivery system by Bezos, Intergalactic Amazon Prime now.
By the way, that was the funniest part of the Owen Wilson Saturday Night Live, where it was like Star Trek, like billionaire edition. He was playing Bezos. Richard Branson was there. It's funny. Like they're all in space.
It got late fast.
There was another story, Covino, about someone that was saved by their phone case. They got shot, and the bullet hit their phone case.
Fuck, I don't wear one.
Alex Efforts, pull this up, Spot. I really want to see this because we never talked about it. A paratrooper crashed through someone's roof earlier this year. And I remember I always like had it on standby to bring up. We never got to it. We were always going to welcome Matt Damon as our next guest, and I was always going to get to this story, and I never did.
Oh, you never got to the paratrooper?
But a paratrooper crashed through someone's kitchen and lived, if I'm not mistaken. But imagine you're just chilling. You just made me think of that.
You ever by the way, you ever have fun facts about an old relative?
That was it, Alex. Thank you.
You ever have fun facts about an old relative, but you wish you would have asked them more questions about it? My grandfather was a paratrooper in World War II.
Wow.
And I was like,
crazy.
But he told me about it, but like I was never old enough to be like,
oh my God.
I was never old enough to be like, yo, Grandpa. So like, you jumped out of planes like a lot?
That's the one. This dude crashed through someone's home and lived.
A British paratrooper crashed through the roof of a California home during a training jump on July 6th.
Oh, wow.
That was it. And there was footage of the damage that he went. I think he fell right into the kitchen or into the house. Though you saw it.
Look
at that shit. I remember that shit happening. I'm thinking, how the fuck did he live?
He landed on the couch. He's like,
and he went to those.
That's like something out of like a comedy movie.
But I never got to it. So yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Alex, thank you, man. Read my mind completely. Shit like that drives me
insane.
It's the one I love that part of the show when you guys can read my mind because otherwise I'll kill myself. By the way, it's an off-color expression. I'm trying to retire.
I'll kill myself. Madonna said it recently, and I think she got slack for it.
Yeah, kill myself.
But Madonna said
trying to figure it out was what I was going to say. Trying to figure it out.
Madonna said she passed on the role of Catwoman or something, and she's like, I wanted to kill myself.
It's
and
so
it's
funny
like,
because
now,
it sounded off color from 2021.
2021.
You know what our show? You know what our show is going to be in 10 years?
No, Spot. It sounds weird.
Just sit. By the way, just
does.
Just sit there in silence for like 5 seconds.
Well,
this is going to be our show in 5 years.
We'll play that clip that Rich sent this morning about sensitivity.
Thanks. All right.
When Madonna said it, it did ring weird to my ears. And when I said I was going to say I'll kill myself trying to think about it all day.
Yeah, saying
It
you'll kill
sounds
yourself is
weird
insensitive because
in
of
today's
suicide.
sensitive sort of thing. It does.
That was such a commonly used phrase. Like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, go. You would even say something. You would even jokingly say, oh, go kill yourself. Go jump off a bridge. I fucking, dude,
I read my mom. My mom was like, retirement. I think I want to slit my throat. And I'm like, oh, maybe Mom, don't say that.
Yo, the Yankees lost a wild card game. I wanted to fucking die. I wanted to kill myself.
Meanwhile, yeah. Again, it sounds like a stretch, but from our trained perspective now in our ears, you're like, ooh.
When Madonna said it, I'm like, yo, there's gonna be something said.
I know it too.
Yeah, I was like,
that's why I stopped myself. But I would have tortured myself.
Oh, don't do what do you do? Why would you torture
I would
yourself?
have drove myself crazy.
Oh, you went to mental health.
I would have
felt really weird about
really
it.
racked my brain
There you go.
about trying to figure out that story. So thank you, Alex Efforts, for the assist.
Maybe
for
that
your
guy,
efforts.
How do you know that guy doesn't know the person? They were just dropping by for a visit.
Yeah, but that was the story I was trying to think of, and I thought of it when you brought up the meteor thing. Like things like that happen every so often, and you're like, "Wow, that's
speaking
that's
of
crazy."
Speaking of paratroopers, in the Once Upon a Time in Queens, 1986 Mets, you realize that something happened that was so cool in the moment, but nowadays would be like a crime on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy during game, was it 6 or 7 of the World Series, that parachuted into Chase Stadium, landed in the field, the crowd went nuts. He was high-fiving players, got arrested, was out of jail the next day. And they gave him, everyone loved the guy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Imagine now if someone infiltrated a stadium like that.
Like kissing bandits and things like that. That doesn't happen anymore. So that's it. You know what? On tomorrow's show, and we'll finish up with some of your feedback, guys. But on tomorrow's show, I do want to ask you about the conversation etiquette. For example, your buddy Matt is here. Our buddy Matt was here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did, and it was coincidence, total coincidence, was I led with cop conversation because he's an officer of the law.
The law.
Is that
the law?
Is that cool to lead the conversation toward their? I've criticized you for this in the past, but I'm leading the conversation toward their wheelhouse.
It's called commonality.
Or is it lame? Because it's like, is that person? Basically, what the question is, isn't he sort of sick of talking about that, or are you making it better conversation?
You sick about talking about your radio show?
That's what I'm saying. So think about that.
I have a buddy I play softball with that is you wouldn't think he's a Broadway actor because he looks like a big beefcake, but he plays like Gaston and traveling shows. Like he's like a big beefy guy. I always talk to the guy about like music and theater and stuff because that's his wheelhouse. If you have a friend that works for the, I don't know,
you think
for the Parks Commission, you wouldn't ask him ever about like parks?
Like that's Matt, you don't think our buddy Matt, who has a high stressful job, right, as an officer,
because he talks to me about shit like that all the
but
time.
you don't think that he's sort of tired of talking about like Blue Lives Matter or some shit like that, or the disrespect that maybe people give him for being a cop?
No, because Matt will call me up
or terrible scenarios.
He'll hit me
in the
up when
news.
he's on a break from work and be like, "Yeah, I had a crazy story before. Some woman, she's okay, but I was on some call. Like it's his life. It's like me saying today on the radio show.
I don't know. We do Fox Sports Radio, so a misconception is like, do you always want to talk about sports? And people,
No, but you know who thinks that I do?
Who?
The guys I play softball with.
We'll see. That's
Yo,
what
what do you think about the Dodgers? What do you think about the Dodgers? What do you think about the Dodgers bullpen?
How does that make you feel?
And I have to.
That's what I'm saying. Spot.
I don't mind this spot because they assume I'm an expert on things that I'm a little not. Because there are guys that don't know me that personally that'll be like, "Yo, Rich, I was flipping through. I heard you on Fox or ESPN back in the day. Yo, what's your thoughts on Jameis Winston?" And I'm like, well, you know what? They're showing an interest. I'm not going to be like, I don't know. So I'll be like, Jameis Winston, and I'll play along.
Yeah, but for example, like some people bring up college football to me, and I'm like, hey man, I know I talk a lot about sports. I a terrible Terry Funk about college
I'm
football.
like Spanakopy though. I got like so many layers. I'm
I
like
disagree.
baklava.
I disagree with Andrew. I
I
agree
got some
with
sweet
Clay.
parts.
Why? What did Andrew say?
I disagree with Andrew,
It's like
and I
one
agree with
step
Cliff.
above about
He said it's
talking
like
about
he
the
said it's like
weather.
weather talk. I
Surface
agree.
level. That's
Look
what I'm
Cliff
saying.
said. Cliff said it's a compliment. They're interested and they're actually trying to engage in something other than
But is that all you talk about?
Right.
all you talk about, but it's
my,
like,
my
hey.
example was, you think Matt wants to be approached with just cop conversation? And and that's what I led with today because of the wormhole I fell in. But then it dawned on me, like, this dude doesn't want to talk about cop bullshit.
I think it's a compliment.
I don't know. Think about it. I think it's something to be conscious of.
Yeah, no, agreed. You don't want to only do that.
Oh, you're a blacksmith, huh? Let me tell you about my friend. My friend, like, he's like, yeah, dude, I don't give a fuck. You're trying to find stretch some commonality.
I'll give you.
I got a friend who he does some of that shit in his
I'll
fucking
give you one.
workshop. I should see the horseshoes he makes.
I'll give you one. My buddy Rob. Yeah,
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy's like,
well, I have a friend that's a candle maker.
Oh, that's true. You do.
no, but then it's like you're
I
stretching.
just need to find a cobbler.
Please don't use me as a point of conversation.
Oh, you're a fucking shoe repair guy. Yo, I once had these fucking Timberlands. Let me tell you about them. He's like, yo, dude, chill.
I'll give you an
I don't wanna
example.
talk about that.
On Saturday morning when I play softball, there's a guy I know, Rob. He was gone for a couple months. He's a television producer, and he was working on some show up in Alaska, like one of those like
Ice Road Truckers.
like one of those one of those shows that
The Deadliest Catch.
no, it's like a dangerous show. I forget what it was, but it was a show that he was gone for a couple months. How are you not gonna be like, yo, dude, Alaska? Was that like, hey, dude, is that a harder job or easier job to get? Because some people don't want it. Like I think they're conversation starters. Otherwise, you are talking about the weather.
I don't know, man.
It's showing a personal interest. Trust me. Trust me on this.
I don't trust you because a lot of times I fucking see you stretch to make conversation happen. And it's like, you'll meet a black guy and be like, yeah, so Friday, great movie, right? And it's like,
Well, that's rude because I don't do that. I don't go, hey, black guy, Friday,
yeah,
good movie.
it's along those lines. So finding commonality is great. I get it. So there's something there. But don't you think that like sometimes it's a little like, that dude doesn't want to talk about that shit. You know, he's done with that.
He's pulled aside. Time to go.
All right, let's go.
Why is it time
I'm
to go?
just kidding.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. You shut the neon lights off.
99% of the conversations Alex has is about the postal service.
Yeah. Do you think that's like fucking riveting conversation?
No offense to Alex Efforts.
I feel like I learned today
It's
that
not
he works for the post office.
It's not the most interesting job. It's a proud, admirable job, but it's not like
Forever
But
stamps, am
people
I
want to
right?
talk to him about that shit. And he's like, yeah, look,
Alex,
it's my job.
wouldn't it be just in everyone's
Let me
best
tell you.
interest to just buy a bunch of forever stamps? Because truthfully, like the bargain you would get, because stamps go up.
Oh,
Like,
it's the
my
best
point.
deal.
That's
By the way,
fucking
what
lame.
is the price of stamps these
well,
days? Do you know?
what is a
question
stamp? Because if
was-
I bought a bunch of forever stamps when they were 30 cents, and now a stamp is God, I don't even know what a stamp is
Should
nowadays.
I,
What do you
should I
think,
mail
Alex?
something first class mail, priority mail, or priority mail
I
express?
mean,
What do you think is
Alex, if you were to
best?
say like U.S. Postal Service, FedEx versus UPS versus Amazon, like what's ranked the delivery services?
Let me guess. You love the band, the Postal Service. They were probably your favorite
I
band.
mean, do
Is it
you like
cool
wearing
or
I mean,
lame? Is it cool or lame? That's the question I'm asking.
let
I
me
felt
ask
a little
you,
lame talking about cop shit to our cop friend.
let me ask you, Alex. Does are dogs really an issue when you're delivering mail, or is that like an old school myth? Like are dogs really like? Are you
Perfect.
like,
Rocket Dog.
It's so cool you ask. Like, yeah, the stories I got. Like,
Rocket Dog works for Target. Let's only talk to him about Target from now on.
yo, do you get sick of wearing red shirts every day?
Yeah.
But you know
People
what?
ever mistake you for the Kool-Aid
every
Man?
time you reference Matt,
When you're wearing just the shirt, do you look like Winnie the Pooh?
it's not.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Time to go home.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah.
Arrivederci, baby.
I got a theory about Rocket Dog.
Oh, I want to hear
Anyway,
it.
we'll save
No,
it.
we can't go.
we'll
I want to
save
hear it.
No,
No, I want to hear
gotta
it.
go.
I'll put the light back
Just
on.
kidding. Love you, Rocket Dog. I don't know, bro. To wrap up, think about what I'm saying.
By the way,
It's nice.
Alex said we just described his Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
The postal stuff.
That sucks. I think that
Hey,
sucks.
Alex, you ever watch those videos on social media where it's like a delivery guy's kicking packages? Like, you ever like kick a package?
And by the way, don't think that the ethnicity thing doesn't happen. I see it all the time. Where like I'm stretching to have conversation with you guys, but like
Matt said hurtful.
You know,
Hurtful.
you're talking to an Asian guy, like, oh, where's your family?
I mean, does
"Oh,
anyone
from Japan."
really-
Oh, you know, my family went to Japan just recently. Let me tell you, this guy's like, yeah, chill, man. Just because I'm Japan doesn't mean I'm the spokesman.
Does
You know,
anyone
like
really need the mail? That's what I'm saying.
I think to
not
lead
all,
with that shit it's like lazy a little
but
bit.
not all surface
It's
conversations.
lazy.
I get it.
It's lazy.
But
it is,
you know
but
what's
we do
lazier?
it.
You know what's lazier? Oh, the weather. Like, you're at the game last night. It's maybe a step above that, but it's still a step above that. If I meet someone, I guess I deal with a lot of people. I deal with a lot of people in different industries that you don't. And it's simply stupid. Something as stupid as like playing rec sports. But if you meet someone, it's like, hey, Joe, what have you been up to? Oh, I've been producing a reality show. What's a casting process? A pain in the ass or what? Like, I don't know. I just feel like those are better conversations than like, oh, weather's really getting chilly here in LA. Isn't that a better conversation?
It is getting chilly.
By the way, I love it. I haven't turned my air on or off in Spot. Have you noticed it's like nice and cool in here now?
I mean, I am wearing a tank top. So
my neighbor must love it because they must hear the show every day because the window's been open for 2 days.
Oh, well, that's why it's cool in here.
It's nice out.
It is nice.
I feel like here's how
actually
I feel.
not sweating
I feel like
for once.
I'm such a narcissist.
Yes, you are.
Do you remember who had that gimmick in wrestling?
But I'm the OG.
Do you remember that? That's how I learned that word. Do you know who had that gimmick?
And I no, the narcissist. Who's that? I forget.
It was a very short-lived gimmick in the 90s.
Who?
Lex Luger.
I knew that. I swear to God, I should have said that.
He walked around with he walked around with a mirror. It was like a Vince McMahon failed gimmick. It was
I felt like
the
I was wrong.
narcissist.
I felt like I was wrong.
The
Yeah.
narcissist Lex Luger, and he walked around because he was so ripped.
And
he
he
just
wanted
walked
to
around
take
with
the
a
chance.
mirror.
I'm really not. I'm a self-centered guy, right? Trust me, I know real narcissists. So, as a self-centered guy, as a real self-centered person, I love conversations about me. So, if you want to talk to me about my experiences in radio, that's great. But I can't, I'm self-aware enough to know that not everybody wants to have this cheap conversation about, oh, you work at fucking Trader Joe's? Yo, man, how do you feel about those
Great Hawaiian
shirts?
shirts.
Hawaiian shirts are great. What happened to Trader Joe's?
Man, those chocolate-covered cherries?
Oh,
you got a discount on those bad boys?
And like, yeah, dude, all right. How about the samples? You guys still doing samples with pandemic going on? Yeah, we stopped that for a while, but now, like, I don't know,
You know
bro.
what a lamer conversation is?
Talk to me about your pumpkin
know
spice
what a
stuff.
lamer conversation is?
They don't want to talk about that shit.
A lamer conversation is weather, pandemic,
Ugh.
anything. Like when I go to Texas, right? Know what a lame conversation
It
is?
is forcing
No,
conversation.
you know what? No,
regardless.
it's not. If I see one of my
It is.
buddies and I talk, my buddy, let's say Turner, does medical sales and he deals with
I think you let him talk to you about it if he wants to talk.
what do you
about
call
it?
it? Like when
You know
when someone gets they sadly have an amputation and there's like a mechanical, like he does like a lot of like cool
prosthetics.
Stuff. Yeah, but like not just prosthetic, like robotic prosthetics, I think. And I'll ask questions that I find are like interesting. What's better? Hey, man.
Hold on. You find them interesting. That's my question. You find them interesting. Does he want to talk about it? The question is about, do they want to talk about it? The question isn't about what the fuck you want to know and learn from this guy.
You know what? I think we should.
But that's,
think about
please
that.
understand the question I'm asking. I don't care if Rich is interested. I'm saying,
You know
does
what it's
that
like?
guy want to talk about this shit?
Think about
You got to
this.
be conscious of that sometimes.
Think about here's a good thing. When you go down and you sit in your barber's chair, right? Do you talk about hair cutting for an hour, or do you talk about fucking bullshit in your life and everything going on?
Yeah.
That should be every conversation.
I like that. That's a
like
good
you're having it
example.
with your barber.
I think-
you're not
I
talking
think-
about hair cutting.
I think you might
You're
be wrong
talking.
a little bit,
You're
Rich.
talking about what they're doing, what they're watching, what they're into.
See,
who
Andrew
they're-
Hart
who
is
they're
he's
banging.
feeling me. Exactly, Covino. No, because
I'm
you're-
not an Andrew Hart type of guy.
dude, you're thinking only one-sided.
I gotta run, by the way. We gotta go.
You got a heart on.
It's a one-sided thing. Rich is like, yeah, that's
you
what I
go.
want to do, so it's good. That's not what I'm saying.
I work at Pepsi.
One step.
I work at Pepsi.
Next
This is
levels.
Gabe, and Gabe gets a lot of. Do you drink Coke?
Next levels, bro. Next levels. I'm saying, what does the recipient want?
You work at Trader Joe's? You ever meet Joe? And by the way, I looked it up. Joe Columbine from Pasadena, California, 1967. Fun fact of the day. Trader Joe. Joe Columbine, 1967, Pasadena,
It's
California.
also a division of Aldi North and Aldi South.
Is it
So, yeah.
proper etiquette or good etiquette
And
to
they
come at people with
divided over
conversations
cigarettes.
that you know are in their wheelhouse, or is it forced? Is it cool or lame? Think about it. Shove it up your ass. Have a great day, guys.
All right, arrivederci, baby.
See you in the promised land.
Bye.